So what's your Instagram tag, by the way, Jimmy?
It's a Zink Glass, Zink Glass. So yeah,
Cool.
it's my real last name too.
Got
So
you.
And also,
Very
by
cool,
the
man.
way, this Discord server, we are going to be using this to rep like the podcast. So I do recommend hanging around here because I don't know if you noticed it, but there's a chat called Glassblower's Introduction and Glassblower's
yeah,
Style. And if you ever want to just throw your pieces on there and hey, wait like 2 months and maybe you have 5 messages on Discord from some people. You know what I mean?
no,
And it
yeah,
would just
dude. I
add, it would
mean, I
add
didn't even
to
know
like
I
what
didn't
you're
even know
already
what
selling.
Discord was. I didn't even know what Discord was before you said it to me. So I was like, all right, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, bro. Nah, you know where my inspiration for using Discord heavily came from?
what?
Fucking COVID. During COVID,
Really?
not a lot of people know this, but actually Discord use in the percentage sake wise skyrocketed. The only
Hmm.
problem is that a lot of the people who were getting on it were younger. But still, there's a lot of people on Discord right now that you can grab, for numbers wise. And that's
Yeah,
definitely
no.
why it's a good platform.
It seems good, especially with how Instagram's been. I mean, it's one of those things that's like fucking we definitely need. I mean, Instagram's been so up and down, and people always complain about the algorithm. I'm always like, you can get around it, but just regardless of it, there's. I mean, I notice a lot of people. My shopmate uses a lot of Facebook and Facebook groups, and he'll get some good pull out of there, and then it kind of grows. I mean, it was all Instagram when I started because I started in 2011, and it was kind of like, oh, cool, I can finally post shit I'm working on, and it was like accidental. Like I didn't even know what it was. It was just I thought it was a place to put my shit up. I was getting sales from it like super fast. And so, like, I worked with a bunch of shops, but I never was, like, shop seeking, especially with the style of work I do. I was always pretty much, like, make something cool and then it would sell, and it was, like it was kinda like the land grab of, like, Glass days where it was just, like, you could make money so much easier than now, you know what I mean? Now it is really a different kinda grind. I mean, it's always been a grind, but now it's pretty tough, like, for sure.
So
I
you're
know
saying
I've been hearing that a lot, bro. You know what I think is the cause of that? China. I don't mean to sound like Trump, but it's the Chinese glass, bro. It's the cheap Chinese
No, it
glass
is.
and it's
It
fucking over our industry.
yeah, and we had such a surge where it went from nothing to everything, and I mean, that's why I got in it. I was collecting pipes, and I'm like, "You don't even know this is worth this or that," and it was worth it to me because I was like, "Look at what it is for the function," and, like, people would go, "Cool, man," like, you know what I mean? Somebody else coming to smoke with you would be like, "Yeah, how much was that? Why would I do that?" Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's funny, like, it's such a niche within a niche, you know what I mean? But now being more popular, it kind of makes a lot of it watered down where it's like, I started, there was a few sculpture guys. Now there's a ton of sculpture guys. You know what I mean? Now there's a ton of guys who can put 20 reversals in a piece. And now there's, you know what I mean? Ton of guys on lathes. It's like, so it's like, you got to do something to stand out now unless you got that. I mean, luck is a huge part of art. So you get lucky about timing too, you know what I mean? So now it's a different world, but I mean, I see some young cats doing it and doing it well though. So I mean, it's definitely a hustle though.
You know what I've noticed about the younger guys though?
What is that?
A lot of the younger guys they charge more.
Oh yeah, I mean, I noticed that. Well, I mean, it's the ability to know what you can dictate your own worth. You know what I mean? So it's like you we should be trying to charge what we think is truly valuable for it. I mean, I heard somebody a long time ago say, "I want to pay myself $100 an hour," and for a long time he did. You know what I mean? Actually, he still does. I think so. Not to name names either,
Glassell
but
does. Glassell's getting $100 an hour for my piece. So
yeah, yeah. And I
that's
mean,
as good
that's
as it
fair. I
gets.
think that's very
Right.
fair. That's as good as it gets. That really is. And when like what so like that switch like from like 2000 and I mean, I started 2011, but like 2013 to 16 was like you could try to not sell glass and you would sell glass. Like you didn't have to ever push your shit. I mean, for the most part, at least for me. You know what I mean? I'd be like, "Oh, I need more money today. Put up an auction." It would be fine. You know what I mean? And then when like 2016 to maybe I mean, like, really during COVID, I heard a lot of other people do well. Like, I kinda fell off. Like, I kinda inadvertently took 4 years off just from life being crazy, but I was still working, you know what I mean? We were talking about that already, like addiction and other shit. Like, I drank, like, a lot for 4 years, and so it was kinda like at coming out of it, you're like, "Holy shit, I lost 4 fucking years," you know what I mean? But I've heard those days were good too. And then it's kind of within this last year that there's been like a kind of shocking, like, holy shit, like what was a $4,000 month guaranteed is now a struggle to make it $1,000 month a month. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Really, bro?
and
That's
it's like not
fucked.
always. Oh, it can be really. It's really tough. It's really tough. And like before, it's ups and downs anyway. When you're selling shit you make and you're waiting to sell it, right? So it's like you have a $2,000 month. Well, I might have a $6,000 or $7,000 month the next month. Balances out. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean? But or even more. But like now, it's like it's hard. The consistency is way off compared to how it was before, for sure. But I mean, I don't know. I'm back in it. I almost stopped a few times. Like, and I know some really legendary, great friends of mine that have stopped for their own reasons. You know what I mean? So,
Have you seen any situationships in the industry? And don't say names, of course. But have you
I
seen any
mean, it
situation?
exists. It exists. It exists huge. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I knew a lot of. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of them for sure, for sure. Not with me,
That
not with me, but like, yeah, but
mhm.
for sure. I mean,
That
it's
must
it's
be
a small
sad.
industry, so what'd you say?
I said that must be sad, bro. Like 'cause
Yeah, it's
you fuck up that connection with another glass bar, and
yeah.
it's over.
Well, it's funny because I mean, it happens so much. I will say that, and without naming names or getting into anyone, it's wild. When I got in this, like, I worked alone for 5 years, so I was just hitting trade shows, and I was up in the Northeast, and I was lucky enough that I had a few people just like be nice to me. You know what I mean? When I didn't really know anyone, like this one of my best friends, C4 Glass. He's also like doing this whole thing. He's actually getting his captain's license. Amazing fisherman, amazing just like on the ocean and stuff. You know what I mean? But what some of the best hands I've ever seen in glass. You know.
Mhm.
He brought me in, was super sweet to me. I actually started working the studio I started working in. I was in the same building, like a few doors down from Chocolate Glass. I don't know if you know him.
I
Who
do.
does like the ice cubes and shit. Yeah, yeah. So, he was always super sweet to me. My now deceased, like one of my best friends, this guy Jeff Kasner, he's like a master at Goldstream. So I had a lot of those dudes that I was lucky to be around. And then I can't even remember if I think it was through MTP, Catbutts Ben. He's like one of the greatest people ever that I met some of the main crew. And so then like the old ball out shelter and stuff, like Danny Camp was probably one of the nicest people to me ever. Like, did my first trade show with me, introduced me to a lot of people and stuff. You know what I mean? Um, so I was lucky at the time too, just like being alone but still meeting people. You know what I mean? And inadvertently, that was how I met Hops, and then ended up down in Philly with like a ton of people around, which is so much better because it's such a weird, lonely life doing what we do even with people because you're concentrated in this little box that you're in. Come here, buddy, forever. You know. So it's definitely great and important having shop mates, I think. Come here. Sorry. Come here, buddy. Gotta stop
Do you
crying.
think there's gonna be any boom in the industry in the upcoming years?
I mean, I think there could be. I think that there's I mean Time, my old best friend Time Warner, he used to always say just like just hold out. Just hold out. It's gonna swing back. It's gonna swing back. Um and I think there's some reality to that. You know what I mean? That's why I
Mm.
think it's good if it's. I mean, I just recently was talking with Worm Glass, and he was saying the same thing. It's like it's gonna be the people that stick with it that see something from it, even if you're not right at the moment. You know what I mean?
Speaking of which, um, have you heard of GlassPass?
No.
Okay, yeah, they're a website where you can sell your pieces. Um,
Oh, really?
yeah, but that's also like kind of like what we're trying to do. Just
It's a
kind of
great
like
idea. That's like,
I didn't know about them until I thought of it, and because like they're not really like the most heard of, but
yeah. There's. I don't know if you remember or how long you've been around glass, but Borough Market back in the day. Do you remember that?
mm-mm.
Borough Market was like 2012 or 13, and essentially it was an auction site for your glass, like three people doing that shit on Instagram. But that used to make me like $200 a day, just like consistent, just putting something up, leaving one or two pieces up. You come back at the end of the week and have a bunch of sales, you know? So
That's wrong.
yeah, come here, buddy. Sorry, I gotta get.
What's it called? Sorry, I'm chewing taffy, and I don't like to speak when I have taffy in my mouth or food in my mouth in general. But I finished chewing it. So, um, our goal for the website is to build a website kind of similar to eBay,
Okay.
but just for glass blowers and glass blown accessories.
I mean, that's a
And
smart idea. I think it could be good.
and I think that GlassPass, they have a chance of beating us to the punch, 100%. But as of right now, it's kind of like whoever can really grab the people first, you know? And
Yeah, absolutely.
'cause that's what you need. And so like that's why we're on here trying to get the word out. We're educating people as
Yeah.
well, so it kind of like helps the community as well. Because the ultimate message that I think everybody's trying to get at is fuck China glass, bro. And like, dude, honestly, bro, like, why don't we just make it like imports of glass from China, like certain imports,
Yeah.
just like illegal? Because we know that's there's no way that they have like right labor laws on that, you know?
No, absolutely. I mean, well, I mean, I know from friends of mine that have actually, again, not naming names, but I know a few people who have gone over to China to sell their designs, and they were like, "Holy shit!" Sorry, he's freaking out. He really thinks there's someone in the house. But that's tried to sell their designs, and a few that came back and were like, "I'm just not going to do it because this is like wild, like classroom setups with desks, like no vents, glasses that are not right, like shit like that." So, I mean, firsthand, I've heard it's pretty gnarly in terms of some of them, and I know there's nice ones too. You know what I mean? I know there's probably good ones, but it definitely is hard for us trying to get our worth out of it. Putting a $750 recycler out there, and then they're like, "Oh, $40 on Amazon." You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mine was 50.
my buddy who was a mothership kid. He bought a bunch of the Chinese motherships just to see it, just to like kind of laugh at it, and then he got it, and he was like, "I love the way this functions actually." And he used to use it all the time, so it's kind of funny. He had like a $14,000 Jake C, and he'd be hitting this $50 thing.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah. I mean, it's the way it goes, though. It's like I always said it's like we're lucky enough to do it. It's such a heady niche culture. You know what I mean? It's cool. It's kind of like it's easy to forget when you're making it how much like people are in it and into it. Like when you were into it. You know what I mean? You definitely get a little disenchanted making it every day. You
Oh,
know what
I
I mean?
know. Oh, I know. Yeah, yeah, for sure. No, dude, even talking about it with people, like you interact with people and you tell someone a price, and if they've never bought local glass, they'll be like, "Why the fuck would you pay that?"
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's shocking
Like,
to most people. You know what I mean?
yep, they don't expect
It's
it, but
funny,
they
but
don't understand like how it's like it's a culture. Like it's art, you know?
exactly right. And I feel like that will come more to the front. Sorry, he's got me crazy. Hey, stop it, please, dude.
I know Joe
Um,
Rogan. Joe Rogan actually mentioned. I think it was like Joe P. So
oh really? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Joey
Joe
would
P
come
class, yeah.
around. What was it?
What were you saying? I
Oh
was
no, I
saying
was saying Joey would come around.
yeah, Joe P class is one of my favorites. Correct.
Oh nice. Yeah, no, he's a great glass artist. Yeah, he would come around Philly a lot actually. His his brother, I think. Yeah, his brother or cousin, somebody. He lived here, so he would come through a lot. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's a great glass blower.
who have you done
Yeah, I mean,
collabs with?
I've so kind of the Philly guys. I got so like my first collab ever was C4. Then I have collabs with MTP, um, Danny Camp, Skrillinger, who's amazing, Beat Glass, Marty Preston, all out of Maine. Um, I have them with, let me think, Time Warner. I have them with Hops, Halley Cat. My current shopmate John Larandy, I have a bunch with. My other shopmate Jay Fern Glass. Um, Josh Ford. Actually, we had like a cool reactor we did a few years ago. I'm
Right.
trying to think who else. Yeah, no, I mean a few. I've been lucky to meet some cool people. I have some with Chaka actually too. Um, yeah,
Really? You have someone with
Matt
Taka?
D'Onofrio. Yeah, I have one with Chaka. I don't think we ever even put it out because it wasn't perfect, but it was a huge Ganesha back in 2015, I think.
Ganesha, very
So I'm blowing
cool.
glass
Nice.
for almost 15 years. So
Yeah, I tried to get a piece from Chaka, but like kind of just shot me down.
for what
Yeah.
reason?
Well, he told me, he said straight up, he just said, I do, I'm so busy with collabs right now that any solo piece is going to be at least 3.5K.
I mean, he's earned it. I'll say this about Christian. When I used to see him work, he was one of the first. It's interesting too, like to give him like a really huge compliment behind his back. He goes, he was really into craft glass when I met him. He was a great glass blower, but he did more of the craft style, craft shows. He never really fully thought like it could just be pipes.
So
And
which piece is your collab with him? The chocolate glass piece?
I don't know if I ever even posted it.
Right, right.
You have it?
I think I have it. I think it actually might be in my house in Boston, which is funny.
Oh, you have
The
multiple
Electroform wasn't.
houses? Dang, ballin'.
Oh no! My parents live in Boston still.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
I have my house in Philly. Beyond the no Philly Rokesdale. I have my
Oh,
house in
damn.
Philly though, which is wonderful, and I love Fishtown.
So
Philly's
your parents are ballin'.
amazing.
You got like a
Well, yeah, well, I mean,
70-year-old
that's the host.
dad
Like,
just hanging out at the house smoking out of a like $4,000
well,
piece, and he's like, "Fuck
yeah,
yeah."
yeah, they kind of are. It's funny. My dad is. He's always talking about retiring. He's like, I want to smoke so bad. He could now, but he's like, my mom doesn't smoke. They both do edibles and shit though. They like that. My mom does definitely likes that.
Yeah, a lot
She
of
was just
older
never a
people,
smoker. Like
their
she's
lungs.
Yeah, well, it's funny. She always my grandmother, who I loved dearly and like helped raise me. They lived with us. We had like a little duplex. She smoked for like 34 years, Parliament. So they were always
Dang.
like, my mom just hated the idea of smoking. But she came around it to me. She's like, it's pretty funny, especially when she started seeing me make pipes and money like right out of art school. She was like, all right, shit, like, because I got a 4-year degree in illustration, like a BFA in fine arts, and was selling paintings, and then was just like, I'm doing this now. And she was like, really? So that was kinda like that's literally my whole transition into doing it. So
Fuck
once
yeah.
you saw money come in, it was cool. It was like, "All right, fuck it." You know what I mean?
What inspired you?
Um, I just smoked like crazy. Ironically, with having like a drinking problem, I didn't drink till I was 28, and I hated drinking growing up because Boston, big drinking town, whatever. So when I found smoking, like, for like 8th grade going into 9th grade, smoke first time, I was like, "Oh, this is awesome, and I don't feel like I need to do it every day, and I like how this makes me feel." So I was like an athlete through high school, and then once I got into college, I just started smoking heavy because like I was trying to do art already, and it just like worked, and it made me better at shit. It actually didn't ever feel detrimental to my life. And then I was at a non-art college. It was Merrimack College in 2005, and one of my best friends brought out this bong, and he was like, "This is the Basilisk," and it was like a 2 foot glass bong, old school as fuck, like grommet, you know what I mean? And then, but we actually ended up switching it to glass on glass. It was pretty tight, but I was like, "Oh shit, like that's cool." And then he brought a PHX Trinity, the 3 footer with the three tree perks, and ironically, for my work, function and clear was actually what got me into glass because I love the idea of like having some kind of, like, hierarchy in it, like, it's like, "Oh, I drink good whiskey." It's like, "No, I only smoke out of these pieces or good pieces and good weed out of these pieces." So, it was kinda like that niche within smoking, I thought was really cool. So, I got through school never really blowing glass at all. Like, my senior year of college, I set up my own little thing, blew glass, like, 5 times, you know what I mean? Um, but I just started collecting heavy probably 2007. And so, this was, like, free days, nothing online, like, all word of mouth. And being in Boston, it was 3.5 hours to, Burlington, Vermont, which was, like, one of the legendary spaces of it. It's where Jason Lee started out of, like, the legendary line worker who taught hops, actually. They had Full Tank where Kurt B and his wife worked at, and, like, the Stars and Pipes were all done out of there. Um, there was the Burn Gallery, which still does the, what's it called? The, Pipe Classic, or was doing the pipe. I think that was the last one that just happened. But yeah, so it was just one of those spots, and we would do day trips, just like 3.5 hours up, glass shop, eat a sandwich, 3.5 hours home just to pick up heady shit. And so that was
Fuck
like the
yeah.
early days of Illadelph. I mean, the Mike Fro days. My first hops was from Full Tank in 2006. And so I just saw it like, and I was like, if I want to see this and smoke money like this, like smoke like this and spend money like this, and especially in the weed days, then people would have that kind of money. You know what I mean? So not like they don't now, but really then. And so once I got through art school, I was like, well, I don't want to like just grow weed or do that because I had a ton of friends that got into it. I still want to do something with art. I was like, how can I be connected with like the cannabis world truly and fucking art and just easily sell? I feel like it's utilitarian. So even comparatively to a painting or something else, you're always gonna have somebody like okay, especially if you're a lathe worker or something like that. It's like, oh, I just need a bomb, and it's like, sick, I'll get you a bomb. You know what I mean? So that was pretty much my transition in it. That I mean, I knew, I just like felt it, and I knew early on. I was like, this is such a niche industry. It's like it's everything. I can get whatever tattoos I want. I can do whatever I want. Like your own boss, like that shit.
You get to go
And it
on
just seemed fucking cool.
vacation. You get to go on really nice trips. I mean, it's not always a vacation, but like, it's still
Usually a
kind
work
of a
trip.
vacation because you're enjoying it. Like, and then you get to meet
Yeah,
people and have conversations and still smoke on the job. Like, you know,
and smoking on the job is probably one of the best parts. I won't lie. I mean, me and my shop mate are just like joints all day. You know what I mean? Him more so than me. He's like famous for it, and
I know that's
yeah,
what
it's
breaks
fun.
my heart about having a day job, man. I always see a lot of like people who follow me, like other like because
Yeah.
there's other podcast owners that are like have started like seeing our podcast and checking us out and stuff. And I'll see them start streaming in the morning, smoking sesh, or wake and bake, and I'm like, damn, like that breaks my heart because I'm already at work. Like I'm like, fuck my life.
It's a it's a double-edged sword, though. I'll say this. Like, I've done this 13 years. It's not the only job I've had, but it's the only thing I've done consistently more than a year. And at first, it was like, "Fuck yeah, I'm gonna set schedule, you do your thing." You get in the role of it, and especially, like, in the city in Philly, it's like everything's close, my shop's close. You will start to get this, like you will crave structure because you're like, "Oh, fuck, I can do anything I want." You're like, "I'm just not feeling it today at noon." You can leave, you know what I mean? And it's definitely the good ones that get through that push through that mentally, you know what I mean? That you see somehow sit there and crush out 15, 16-hour days, you know what I mean? Like, that's what Chalky used to do. That's how he transitioned as amazing glass blower. I mean, I saw that guy work, like, 80-hour weeks consistently, like, through the summer, through the winter, you know what I mean? I'm like, "This
Yeah.
guy's, like, a maniac." And then his style got super refined, and now, like and look at what it does, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, Casta Glass, I don't know if you know Casta Glass. He's an old shopmate of mine who I also have collabed with actually. Like phenomenal glass worker. Like a lathe, like just wild on the lathe. The stuff he sees and how he can do it is unbelievable. Super cool guy.
I
But
know
I've
that's how I
never seen
felt.
anyone
That's how
able
I felt when I met like Glass Hall. Dude, he's
to. Okay.
got some really nice product, bro. Like, dude, I can't fucking believe his glass. It actually kind of like
Yeah.
that's why I'm getting one, man. Like I'd say even like if you took one of his spray cans and held it up to like a Chaka piece and they were in the same gallery, they'd sell for the
Mhm.
same, like easy.
But yeah, I
Yeah,
know it
no.
seems
I mean,
crazy, but glass hole stuff does seem like it's appropriately priced, even if it's $1,000 or something.
no, yeah, his work's sick. His work's amazing. I don't know him personally, but his work is amazing. Like I think a lot of people underprice themselves. I know I have, but it's good when you can say, "Hey, I earned this. This is mine. Like I should get this." You know what I mean?
Exactly, bro. Because also the consumers are happy, and the glass blowers still able to continue their art and
Yeah.
live, and do what they love,
Well,
and the consumer is able to get a piece that they're happy with, and they feel like they got a win.
yeah, no, exactly. I mean, also resale on a higher piece too is gonna make everybody happier 'cause it's gonna look. I mean, it's gonna look good for everyone. I actually
Oh,
recently,
exactly.
for the first time, I recently for the first time ever had that happen where someone hit me up and was like, "Hey, like, what's the price on this?" Like, and I'm like, "Oh shit! Like, what did he get it for cheap or whatever?" You know what I mean? And they were quoting him like what it would have been. It was like an $1,800 piece, and I was kind of like, it was weird because it was almost especially in this atmosphere right now. I don't feel like that's as common. You know what I mean? Hey, buddy, stop! It's not as common right now in this atmosphere. So like to have my shit like reselling for like
It
even
was a
like you know
smoke
what I mean? Like
shop
it
that
obviously.
sold it, didn't it? Wasn't it?
What do you say?
It was a smoke shop.
Yeah, it was a smoke shop, but then it was a
Yep.
guy who bought it from the smoke shop out of with a resale that was like I think it was like $200 more. You know what I mean? I
Yep.
was like, oh,
That's
this
what they
guy's trying to
use.
make like
Yep.
another two. And the kid took it and he was like, "I fucking love this piece. I'm stoked." And I was just like, "Damn, like, all right, you can sell it for that." It's a harder thing. It's definitely when you're late on rent or you're like, "Man, I need supplies." You always do that. Like, all right, I'm gonna whole. It's like it's like wholesaling to Europe. You know what I mean? You always got to drop it for the whole fucking thing, costing so much to like get it over their fees and just like
Mhm.
the differential with pounds and shit. But like, I'll do like Europe wholesale sometimes when I'm like desperate on it. I've definitely done that. And it's not the best idea. A lot of shops, I've had shops react like, no, like if they wanted it 300-400 more on pieces, you know what I mean, or whatever. Yeah.
You just take a dab.
So,
Cheers, boys. Are we
No,
taking dabs?
I hit my vape. I'll take a Toto.
Oh, right.
light something up.
Yeah, what's your favorite piece you like to smoke out of?
So ironically, I pretty much smoke joints.
Oh, what is
I
it?
have
That's
like
what
a
he was
bong at
telling
my
me.
shop. Yeah, I have a shop mate. So I used to be rigs like I was like a heavy. I was literally dabs only for like 2010 to 2018. And then
Wow.
it was actually hops that got me into like the like, hey, like roll a joint, like take the time, do that in the morning, like you know what I mean. And I wasn't even the person who got burnt out on dabs, like you know what I mean. I'm like an 8 shots of espresso a day guy anyway. But but yeah, it's just like it was weird. I dabbed this morning. Like my shop man always dabs me up. He's nice, but like the only actually I'll show you the only piece I'm dabbing. It's filthy, but I'll still show you because it's my boy
Oh, no
who you
problem,
should
dude.
get
Bro, you
on here
know,
too.
wait, speaking of
Who
which,
you-
bro, I can't wait till we get some fucking sponsors and for some like wax products, dude. Oh my god, that
yeah.
is gonna be some real nice shit. Oh, but yes, show us your
So
piece.
Grime Glass. I don't know. Do you guys know Grime?
Yes, I have seen his stuff a little.
Yeah. So Pedro's an awesome dude and super clean, super fast. He's a great glass blower. You know what I mean? Definitely an awesome guy. But that's like the only piece I dab pretty much, and like or my shopmate's pieces that he makes. You know, I used to always like be making a piece to try to hit. Please, buddy. I used to be try always making a piece to try to hit. That was half the joy of like doing it. You know what I mean? Um, but it's definitely I don't know. It kind of just shifted. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's like when I got away from functional work because for a while when I started, I was still doing float cyclers and weird clear shit and Gil Perks and Incyclers and shit like that and like bloopers, but like I don't know. I finally just did like I was like I just want to do millies and sculpture and I don't really want to mess with
Yeah,
most
bro.
of that
I mean, I
anymore. You
get you
know.
on that, but also you gotta remember, eh, function right now is like really popular. Function is
Well,
extremely
it's
popular
funny
in the
because
industry right now.
yeah, I actually the last few things I've done like I just did a fish in a bottle that was clear that is like to show function and stuff. It's really interesting that I even say that because I don't like I got into this, like I said, because of function. You know what I mean? I like the inlines. I like the clear inlines that Steve would do because it was like showing function. It was an interesting shape. It was a nice composition in space, and he would do a lot of sandblasting. His wife actually would do the sandblasting, and I remember I loved that because it was like form, function, but still with design. You know what I mean? And then other
Yes.
than that, ironically, the guy that I blew glass because of like my biggest inspiration to blow glass was Ham, believe it or not, which you would never know from my work, but yeah, so I agree with that. Function is huge. It's something I'm trying to like incorporate again for sure. Like I need to.
I'm definitely
Ooh,
there
my
with function,
elbow
dude.
just popped.
Yeah, it's the coolest thing. It's kind of ironic that I make less of it. You know what I mean? But
What would you say is the like most popular kind of functional piece?
mm, I mean, it depends. I mean, I can tell you the ones that like. I think the one. I think the inline. So giving Hops credit, I think that was one of the first ones that made people and
The
free perks
Incyclers?
also like the no the inline.
Oh, is that was
So yeah,
that
so like I
the?
don't know.
I think I know what that is. Could you describe it though to me?
Okay, so it's like a essentially it's like like little vessel like this. It's like 28 mil on the bottom, like a fucking like across the opposite way. So here and then this sideways, and then the perk comes from the side, and then it's a female joint up here. So like he was really they had ash catchers that were really popular for a minute. Um, so yeah, so that was like it was essentially a gridded perk in a line. You know what I mean? So like I don't know, it's like a stem line, but it's jacketed. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Yeah, I was looking up. Fathead Mike did them for a long time too out of Arizona. Um, Which I know fucking, like, BMFT started out of that studio. Oh, I have a collab with Brendan too. He's awesome. Um,
Brendan, bro, I've been trying to get him on here.
BMFT, dude, he's one of the funniest dudes ever. He would kill it. He's hilarious. He's the
You should
sweetest
shoot him
guy
a
too. Like,
text.
yeah, I will. I actually just saw him a few months ago, so I hit him up.
Fuck
Yeah.
yes, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But I don't know.
Also,
I think that it was go on.
I was just gonna say, if you ever want to pop on after, and we offer this to every glass blower, if you ever want to pop on after when there's a bigger glass blower in here, and you maybe want to just hear some tips or tricks or interact with them and hear some other stuff, like or just interact maybe because you might want to get a collab with them, bro, pop in. Like, don't be
Yeah,
afraid.
that'd be chill. That'd be
We
chill.
love the actual like educated opinion on stuff, you know?
Yeah. But you were talking about like function and whatever, like the most popular you see. I was
Mhm.
saying it kind of like through time that I feel like it was the inline first. The next biggest one, I mean, like Quaves Klein changed it for real, probably in terms of dabs and like crazy, crazy prices on just functional pieces. Him and the QCBs too. You know what I mean? Like that whole like time and place was just like I think pretty wild in terms of like everyone wanted to climb, and that was just you know what I mean, and everyone knew, holy shit, like how did they do that? Like you know what I mean? It was kind of one of those, and the function on them, they spoke for themselves. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
don't know. I think now in terms of function though, I mean, I think any kind of cool gridded perks are always cool. Still see a ton of recyclers. I feel like recyclers are not dying for some reason, um, which is fine. I mean, my shopmate makes amazing ones. You know what I mean? But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think there's so much variety now. It's more like what you want. You know what I mean? Like ham's function has always been specifically ham. Like I don't know if you've hit a ham piece or how many you have, but like he's I love his shit. It's very weird and it's very different, and his pull and they're very weird and awesome. You know?
I'm getting a recycler, a tornado recycler. I've never hit a ham though, but I'm about to get a
Nice.
tornado recycler. It's my first ever like actually custom uh, tornado recycler. Last time I
That's
got
awesome.
a basic just Mav recycler.
Okay, that's
Never
awesome.
buy
That's rad.
Mav pieces, bro. I will 100% say that. Mav is a horrible brand. My dude, I tapped it with my heel. I didn't even like, bro,
Yeah.
I didn't even like knock it over. It wasn't even enough force to knock it over. I tapped it with my heel and it just shattered. It fell apart.
Yeah. I was gonna say I don't know much of them or or what they're about or anything. I mean, it's funny with brands. They're definitely it's interesting with brands how they survive or not. You know what I mean? Like there's the JP Toros that are just like phenomenal. I mean, and JP's a great guy too, so it makes it, I guess, a little easier. You know what I mean? Um, but like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Sin was huge when I started smoking, and my buddy Carl worked for them. They were quality as hell. Pyrology was out of Philly, and they were amazing. Owner was a great dude too. So, but yeah, it's hard. It's hard keeping a company going. I'll tell you that. And I don't know it personally, but I know from my friends that have worked in it. You know what I mean? Or banger companies or whatever. Like that stuff gets pretty crazy fast.
So, question then, right? Um, what was your like favorite piece that you worked on so far? What's like most accomplished piece that you feel like you've made?
Huh. Um, I'd say I'd probably say the one I just made recently. I had a so the studio that we're in is called Ground Up Collective, and it's this guy Glass Engineering, Jay, who's amazing. Him and my shopmate John Larandy, and all around amazing dude. They both run it, and they've been putting on some classes there, and so I got to do the first one. Casta did the second, and then Worm did the most recent. But I did like probably the largest character zombie like I've ever done. Like probably, I mean, like it's like a good it's more than 5 pounds, 100%, and it's, like, maybe this tall, so I kind of accidentally started going big, and then that became, like, the theme of the class was just, like, how big can I go and, like, actually, you know what I mean, like, keep this as it is. So, "Hey, come
Yeah.
here. Gotta stop."
I
Alright.
Bro,
like
have you
that. I
ever
like
thought
the
about making
biggest
like
guy.
a
Probably that one, actually.
gigantic bong out of one of your zombies?
Wait, what was that?
Have you ever thought about making like a gigantic bong out of one of your zombies? You just
Actually, that's an
mostly
interesting
focused
idea. That
on
could be
wax.
No, I mean, that's actually an interesting idea. I think I could do something like that. I think I would do something like that. I mean, I've made, like, zombies incorporated in bongs and stuff. My buddy Glass Monkey, he doesn't really work anymore, but he was a phenomenal like some of the biggest pieces I've ever seen by hand. He did some where I did like head perks and stuff, but I've never done like a full character in a bong. Um, I could work that out though. My shop makes some nice straight tubes and stuff.
Bro, it'd be rad to see you, bro. I bet you win a fucking competition with that one. Fuck.
Right? Yeah. I've never been lucky in competition. I actually love doing them though. I've done champs a ton of different times. I did a
Really, you haven't won
24-hour one
them?
and No, I actually haven't. I make something cool, but I usually break a little of it. Or I mean, the last one I did was 2019, and I made a full zombie, and it was funny. Like all my shopmates were out there, and my ex at the time was like walking in with my dog, like taking videos and stuff. And Dosher was like, who was staying with us at the shop. I don't know if you know Brian Dosher. He's like
No.
legendary rap and rake fume, wonderful person. He was like, dude, you might win this. You might win this. And I went back in without checking it. Like I had been in kneeling. I knew that the punty was literally like last moves. Like I just had to take it off the punty and it fell. Did it. So that was the closest I ever got to. But no, I mean, it's fun to do them. That's usually it. You know what I mean? I usually don't prepare well. I kind of just like fly by the night, you know?
Is it hard? Is it stressful? Are you like timed or what?
So there's been different ones. Champs has done it a bunch of different ways. They've done like individual things where it's okay, you have 2 hours bubble cap competition, or they'll theme it and then you have to follow the theme. The first year I did it, it was just like wide open. It was 8 hours make a piece. So 8 hours straight. But it was fun. I've never felt stressed doing them. I'm excited doing that stuff. Like it feels it's fun, you know what I mean? It's fun to be able to like get out there and few hundred people walking around and you're like making it on the floor, everybody's getting you a drink or whatever. It's fun. You know what I mean? The 24-hour competition was the hardest, which is I forget the studio in, Connecticut that puts it on, but that was by far the hardest, like,
24-hour?
mentally and everything else, like, I didn't make it super far and I was like, "Fuck this." I think I was like I showed up late and I was like 12 hours in and I was just like, "What are we doing?" But Joe 603, I don't know if you know his work, another
Mm-mm.
phenomenal glass artist out of New Hampshire, now
You
Maine,
have to
but,
send us all of them,
he won
bro.
it. What'd you say?
Send us all their ads, man. I'll message them.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey,
he would be
bro,
a great one to have on too. He's a full-time fishing guide as well. He's a really cool dude.
I message every glass blower I come across, bro. I'm just trying to help y'all spread y'all word, bro. And get the message out there about Chinese glass, truly, and
Yeah, no.
fix the
No,
industry.
it's appreciated. It's a good thing to do. And it's funny, I'm interested to see how you'll get in terms of reactions because I feel like a lot of basketballers are very willing to talk. You know what I mean? I mean, some of them are shy, some of them are busy, but I feel like for the most part, you know what I mean? People are like, we're up for it. You know what I mean?
And
I'll link you with as many Philly guys as I can. I'll definitely like talk
fuck
to them
yeah,
and see who would be into it or not.
fuck yeah,
So,
bro. Send them my way.
because we're all still
Dude,
pretty close to each other. So,
the only thing that
the what?
sucks, the only thing that sucks about Instagram is you can't like favorite more than 3 people, and so it's so hard to like keep track of conversations of like who's ignoring it and who's like
Yeah.
actually, like responding and opening and and all that. Like it gets stressful. It gets really stressful.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. I mean, I know how it is even just like coercing sales and doing that on our end is always bad. But like
Dude,
I've
I,
said
I
with glassblowers too, we're a difficult breed. I will say that we're very difficult.
mhm. Well, it's not even that, bro. It's just like, cause like right, like I'll open them 2 messages and then I'll close Instagram and I'll see 14 more. Like by the end of this stream, there'll probably be like 12 different notifications on Instagram. And it's
Yeah.
different responses. And I mean, I love it. Like that's what we want, but it gets so hard to keep track of everyone. So hard.
Yeah, and
Like,
like you were saying, scheduling's got to be a nightmare.
mm-hmm. Bro, that's why scheduling is a must have. Like it's a must have. I knew that right from the get go. There was no way around that. And I knew that the only way I was gonna actually be able to keep track of it is if I put it on my damn calendar. That's on my phone. So that's
Yeah.
what I did. And it works. That's what's working the best. Um the only thing that I could really think of could work even better is like maybe like hiring someone to do it, but that'd be
Yeah.
down like the line and stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, that would be tight. It's a good thing you're doing. I think it's definitely good, especially at this time in the industry to do it for people just to get out there is good for us. I mean, half our business is just exposure and any platform we can get on, like you were saying.
I
You know
know,
what I mean? It's important.
and
And it's
that's
hard
why,
because
dude.
like that's why I was going.
No, no, no. Go on, bro.
Oh no, I was saying that's why it was so interesting when like I mean like I was saying like especially it was a lot easier to have one platform. It was a lot easier to just like I think we all
Mhm.
got very used to having the same shops. You'd hit up and they grab a bunch, and you'd know, okay, that's 3 grand. That's two. You know what I mean? So it's
Mhm.
like good. It's good. It's hard to pivot for a lot of us. I know for me it has been, but that's why this is also extremely welcome. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, cool, another outlet for something. It's got to be good. You know what I mean? We need it for sure.
Yeah, it's
Exactly,
definitely
bro.
not a boring profession, and you have a lot of crazy facts to talk
No,
about with
exactly,
it.
bro. We've learned about like oxygen. Like, dude, there's a homie on here last night at Work Hot taught us about how he helped someone make an oxygen tank that generates oxygen.
Oh yeah, the oxygenator. So yeah, you take the home fills and you can fill K tanks off of using the home fills for like people that need oxygen or elderly that need oxygen and stuff like that. You can link them up.
Yep.
Fuck, you link up like four and you can get a K tank over. Hey, come here. You're ruining this over like 12
we've a,
hours.
we've a straggler.
MTP. Come on. MTP would stop it, dude. Come on, come here. MTP would was really good at that because he was working in New York. Sorry, hold on. Sorry.
You're good. Don't sweat it,
No
bro.
worries, man.
Would fucking shut up
Take
right
care of
now.
your dog. Yeah.
Maybe
Oh
they
no,
need to
he's
go to the
this
bathroom.
he's already gone out twice. He's fine.
Okay.
He hears me talking and he's so senile at this point that he's like, "Who else are you talking to?" So he'll like,
Yeah.
even when I'm in therapy, like half the time he's just
Oh, I can
screaming. It's
imagine.
like it's so I love him to death. I've been with him forever, but it's like please don't do. People come over the house and it's like, "Have hi, how are you?" and like talking over him, screaming. He's had so many goddamn treats. I took him for a long walk right before this too. Like, but all right, he's laying down. Anyway, no, yeah, those are the home fill systems you can connect. And they'll generate and fill a K tank over like 12 hours or whatever. But like Jop used to do that. MTP did it because he worked in New York, so he couldn't get
Yeah, I know
liquid
oxygen
deliveries
gets
in
expensive,
Manhattan.
bro.
Yeah, I mean we're scheduled up where it's like we're pretty good. We have an awesome like grotty fucking rough little oxygen place that just like gives them to us. Shitty tanks, but they work and they're cheap and there's no yearly or any of that stuff, you know. Or we're getting like the 250 doers and stuff. I mean, yeah, I mean it's definitely the overhead for this sucks. I'll say that. You know what I mean? Anyone running a big studio is absolutely in for it. That's why everyone
There's a lot of
downsizes after
expenses.
at least a certain while. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
That's what we get.
sometimes you feel like you're paying to work. Yeah, it's bad. I mean, the amount of glass blowers. I mean, even Hops always taught me that was like Philly broke style. Like, do not buy it if you don't need it. You know what I mean? Like, put pallets together, make a hood. Like, don't go all the way out. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm lucky now. The shop I'm in now, like I said, is Ground Up Collective, and they're like good dudes. Jay's an amazing contractor, and built the whole shop out, so it looks gorgeous. You know what I mean? It's amazing. It's probably the nicest actual shop I've worked in, which is cool.
That's right.
Very nice. And so these expenses, are they different for the larger pieces? I'm always wondering how people are making these larger pieces. And you're one of the only glass
Yeah.
blowers who makes larger pieces that we've had on. We've had on a lot of few guys who make smaller pieces, like pendants
Hmm.
and so on. And
Glass
so
glass hole does, but however, he said that there's no difference. It comes down to how much time is put into the piece.
That's so I was gonna say. Time is everything for it. So like, it's really you're paying yourself. Like I was talking about, pay yourself $100 an hour or whatever you think you can get. You know what I mean? And like egg timer the piece. Know really when you're taking breaks. Like really how long it takes. And then it's all equivalent to that. The only one where it takes more in terms of so like a large character, you're actually in terms of what you're using in gas or something though, you're just using more material, but you're not using necessarily more gas. Of course, longer for the piece, but it's not like bursts of gas or something. When you're doing millies, because I do like pattern millie and stuff too, that will like burn through tanks like fucking crazy because you're just using so much consistent
the
heat the whole
small
time. So
pieces
doing a
you're saying?
millie, yeah, they're like tile pieces. So like I recently was posting one. They're like
Okay.
the abstract. So like that's a milli that's like essentially it's I just take a bunch of iMillies and I smash them together into a square, and then I pull that square down, and then I cut that into four, and then line them up, and then you just weld that, seal it, and then you cut down chips on the saw, and then those get like lap polished, then stacked back up, rolled, and then sleeved, and then that's how you can have like it as a hollow piece or whatever you want to do with it. So that's the time, which there is a lot, and the amounts. That's why you'll see like crunk stuff or fuck, why can't I think of his goddamn name? But, like, there's any of the big milli guys, like, they'll sell for so much money because to make, like, a chameleon out of all those millis is gonna take I mean, it's gonna take days. Just the cutting is gonna be days of cold work, you know? So, that's the only one that, like, that does just cost a lot more in general because 'cause you're using a ton of material, a ton of gas, and a ton of time, you know what I mean? But,
Well,
they're
I'll be
rewarding,
right
but
back.
they suck.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, she finally stopped crying now. Jesus.
So were you saying the color material?
Yeah, so, like, in terms of, like yeah, so, like, you're making, like I just make eye millies because I would do them for my characters. So it's, like, take, like, a
So
little
I heard
section of
you right.
black
That color material is
and
a
yeah,
killer, you're saying.
wait, what would you say?
That color material is a killer for expenses.
Yeah,
You're saying,
that and then gas. Like, you can use a whole tank if you're pulling a big milli, like, easy. And
and
so you're
gas, right?
throwing, like yeah, you're using, like,
And
two
so
over
you buy
$200
your
worth of
gas?
gas. Yeah, well, my shop different shops do it different. My old shop I used to be solo, so I was just ordering my own thing, getting deliveries, trying to manage it. With a liquid, it sucks because the liquid will vent off if it gets too full so it doesn't explode. So if you're not working constantly and you're venting, you're literally it's just like change coming out of the thing. You know what I mean? But then my old shop, we used to pay rent and then our own gas. Here it's rent, gas included. So shops through the country do it
Yeah,
different, but like that's why it's being in a group shop is way better for the people in it because we're just like, oh, there's gas here. You know what I mean? Like there should be
right.
gas here. Like I even say to my shopmate, like we should pay for gas. Like honestly, you know what I mean? So, but it's like, yeah, it's it's rough. The overhead's rough. The hours are rough. Stuff like that. And it's
I
like I was
see.
saying, it's easy to start like slacking off, even when, especially when you're making money or easy sales. You're like, oh, I'll take a few days off, like here or there, and it's like it's hard to stay in. I feel like it is good to be consistent, and I was very inconsistent at times, but I mean,
I
lately,
see.
especially with like trying to be there is huge.
So, yeah. Has it been a couple years for you? Or I'm guessing 5, 10,
Oh no, no, no.
15 maybe.
I've, yeah, I've blown glass for 13 years now. Yeah, and
Yeah.
so I had 4 years where I was during the pandemic. I was drinking. I was like just not in it. You know what I mean? Just like kind of burnt out and didn't recognize it. And it was it was interesting. It was like I thought I was so last year I had like a bunch of life shit happen and I was like, all right, you know what? Like I'm done with glass. Like I was like November, December, I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like fuck this. I had a Herbie, I sold, I was ready to be out. But I
Oh,
had two
okay.
torches and I had a
Was
backup
that
7 garage that I
was
what'd
that
you say?
because of the money or some other factor?
It was like more it was other factors too. It
Yeah.
was
Okay.
at that time it wasn't necessarily the money. It was like other factors, just yeah, life
Right.
shit, you know. And then but what it was funny when I had like a few orders to finish. I had something like one kid wanted a piece for like 2 months, and I was like, dude, I'll just refund you. He's like, no, just make it like that type of shit. And so I was like, all right, like so. It was this guy John the Randy who I was talking about before, who like is everyone should follow him. Is awesome. Does like great light work too. He was the one that was like, hey, do you want to move in the shop? Because the shop I was in was just like it was whatever. It didn't feel like much, and I was already ready to be out. So I said, yeah, cool, man. Like I'll come in. It's like a good vibe here. I'll spend like another 2 months, finish up my orders and then I'm out. And then I kind of had like a good thing happen in July. Went back home to Boston the 4th, and then like cut my drinking like that week when I was home, and was just like, man, I don't like want to do this anymore. Like I still drink, but I was like, I really don't want to drink like this anymore. This is fucked up. And came back like a lot more sober, and just in a different mindset. And then it's been almost a year
Nice.
now, and it's like, and I'm back in. I think like month one, like I think like week one, I was like, dude, I'm back in. Like this is crazy. You know what I mean? Like I knew right away, but I hadn't felt like that in months and months. So it's a credit to him
Nice.
and his shop and them welcoming me and kinda, like, giving me a shot, you know, so it's a huge, credit to them, so,
So did you say you're working like 6 hours a day, 12 hours a day, or what?
I try to do, like, a normal 8-hour day now and then
Yeah.
take, like, 1 day off a week, but again, it's inconsistent. Some days I'll do less, and then I'll feel like I need to make it up. When I started, I was, like, crazy, crazy in it. Like, I would get in at 5 in the morning and I'd leave at 6 at night, you know what I mean?
Right.
But that's hard to it's an easy way to burn out. It's a good way to get your stuff out really fast, but it just you lose so much other shit, you know?
Okay.
And I've noticed that, like, in terms of getting your shit out there, it's like that's one of the wild things too, is that it's like when I started, I was one of the fewer sculpture people, I would think, and I mean, there was still a ton of sculpture people, but, like, for some reason, like I said, I could put an auction up and it was like boom, boom. So I kind of feel like I got like too much too fast. Where a lot of the things that have happened, I almost kind of like appreciate now. Where it's like, yeah, you got to slow down and you got to like
So,
make your shit right and make it work right. You know?
and you're saying it a lot like you could go faster, but you want to slow down more. So, do you have a lot of pieces being bought up? Like people are in demand for a lot of your pieces, and they're asking for more. Is that
Well,
what you're
so
saying?
not right now, which is tough. But
Right.
it was funny when I was like not working as much. I would have people ask me for customs, or I mean, it was really consistent, you know. And then when I just like disappeared, um, the coming back from that has been way harder than I would have
Oh,
expected.
okay.
But I've
Do
heard
you
it
think it
from
must
other
be
people.
some Instagram algorithm that might slow down if you leave it alone?
Yeah.
I
All
hear if
right.
you
Also, it's
post
just
every
Okay.
day,
I am so
it
sorry. I
grows
know I was
faster.
gone for a long time, but I got
you're fine.
something that's very important for this
It's okay,
interview,
brother.
and that is some alcohol because I
Okay.
don't drink
You're good. You're
often.
good. The second
I
drink
don't
of the
drink
stream.
often. I don't drink often, but
Okay.
it's Jamrise B Day today.
It's my B
So
day,
Oh
and I'm
shit!
drinking
Happy
tea.
birthday, buddy.
I'm
Yeah.
s- I'm drinking
Thank
for
you.
you,
Yeah.
buddy. I was like,
That's
I can't like I it took me a lot of effort, you know? I mean, I'm out of breath, but like I got it.
we're good, man. I'm having a good time. I figured out the audio. I can talk, and I know my microphone's gonna work proper. So I'm just glad to be here and talking about all this fun stuff. I'm fucking ripping the bong, having a good time, drinking some tea. I got some sausage and rice. I'm all set, bro. You know, I'm coasting.
I need
That's
to get
awesome.
some I need
How
to
how
get
old are
some
you today,
Sprite.
if I could ask?
I'm 23. I'm
Oh,
24 now,
Jesus, wow.
actually. Right. Yeah.
Ah, there
Hopefully.
you go. First time saying it. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, I got a few years on you guys. I'm 36, so
Yeah. Yeah, learning from you guys talking about glass blowing and everything. I've learned so much just talking to everyone this week. Just like
yeah.
I had no
I
idea how
it's
it was
it's
done
interesting.
before, man.
It's
Like
funny because it's
a
cool
lot
to
of
see
people
you
have
guys
no idea,
view it.
you know.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. Is like I think we forget that people know. It's cool to see you guys view it as like see that you like view it seriously. You know what I mean? That's interesting because I mean, it's, when I started, it was genuinely like I said, people were like, "What the fuck?" Like no one knew what it was. No one wanted to trade anything. Like no skill sets. Like learn it on your own. Like fail on your own. It was really hard to get somebody to trust you enough to give you anything. You know what I mean? That was a huge thing, and it was
To give you
especially
any
when you knew
work,
nothing. It's like, what are
you're
you gonna do
saying.
for me? Oh, to give us any like tips or like how to do this, how to make a fucking a
Oh,
hollow
right.
seal on a joint. You know what I mean? And it
Yeah.
would be like once they showed you, it's so easy, but you're there just like melting shit in. And it's like because there was it was more gatekeeping back then. You know what I mean? And I think it's kind of cool actually that people are just like,
We've heard
fuck,
that.
like just enjoy it. Like let's share it. I mean, even Worm, who just taught a class at my studio recently, like I said, he was amazing. His whole mentality on it was just like make cool shit and then like share it with people and be like, oh, it's cool
Yeah.
shit instead of being like, no, that's my thing. Like when I was making characters, even in the beginning, it would be like I put a head in a mini tube, like a little rig, like 10 people on the comments, like Voorhees, wanna be Voorhees, because he would always do an internal perk that was a head. Now there's so many people that have done internal perks with heads. It's like absolutely common. No one would ever make that comment. You know what I mean? So it was very like it was protective shit then. It was, "Oh, I make goats and you make one goat, like, why do you think you're him?" You know what I mean? So I think
I
it's
know,
cool to see
yeah,
that
we've
the
heard
industry
that.
mature. It was bad, man, like, I got, like, shit for it at different times, and now it's cool to see it mature, it's like a few people can make dinosaurs, a few people can make fish, it's not just Kenaroo, it's like you know what I mean? It's like stuff like that, which is, I think,
People can
super
make
positive, you know
When
what I
is
mean?
Chaka gonna open up on that Blizzard tech then, eh?
Well, I mean, I see that's he's from the old school, man. He's from the old school. I told you, I met him the first week I was ever blowing glass. I worked in the same building with him for
Is
a
he
year.
very secretive?
No, I mean, but there's a different mentality. I don't think he is, but it's kind of like he worked a long time. Like I told you, 80-hour weeks and shit. He was a workhorse to develop that tech. So I think a lot of glass blowers can most glass blowers can look at it and see it and go, okay, I know, but they wouldn't ever just straight because that's become such a part of his identity. You know what I mean? But I'm sure people already do versions of it, just like Nady Myers, like he does the space tech. I mean, my old shopmate did a sick space tech, and no one was going, "Oh, Nady," like you know what I mean? It's like just do it different enough. Like if you're shaping and your actual style is different enough, if you incorporated Blizzard tech, I don't think anyone would be mad now. You know what I mean? But he's done a cool thing in developing that because he did develop it, and it is his style in a technique as well. You know what I mean? So it's very Christian and it's very smart. It was a smart thing to do. And for marketing, I mean, like, fuck, those things work. You know what I mean? Like, you know exactly who he is. If you've ever seen one, you're gonna see whether it's a tube or a pendant, you're like, oh, that's him. That's fucking, you know. So
Now I have to go get some Sprite real quick, but then I'll be
nice.
feeling good. So I'm gonna be just one moment.
Word, man.
This time I'm not actually gonna mute her. I'll be right back. It'll
No
take
worries,
me
get your
only like
Sprite.
a couple minutes because there's 2 floors to this house. So
Yeah, I feel that. I got an upstairs bathroom. It's terrible.
Right. Oh,
But yeah,
let me
what I
grab my
mean,
bong.
how did you guys? I was gonna say, how did you guys actually get into glass? Like, what was your exposure to, and then like why you
So,
like collect or do anything of that?
so for me and Rick met, you know, and we were talking about it, and he was the dab guy, and I'm the bong guy. You know, I'd like to
Right?
show my
That's
piece
awesome.
soon. I'll get a cam. I'll get like a camera to show off or whatever. But I have this big, like, what is it, 17 inches or something? Almost 2 foot tall rig, right? I like these bigger rigs,
Mm.
and I love a nice functional design where you can get a lot of percolation and ash filtering, because as as healthy as it could be, you know, weed smoking, it's you know, people
It's still
don't
inhaling a combusted
consider the
substance.
health,
Yeah.
people don't consider the health aspect of weed smoking sometimes.
all right,
And
I
then,
am
you
back,
know, it's
boys.
much better if we can just have something that isn't laced, doesn't have
Okay.
pesticides, doesn't have some weird like particulate heavy metals, whatever, baked
Yeah.
into the cannabis, so that when you smoke it, you know you're not smoking on uranium kush or something, and you're gonna get lung cancer
Yeah.
liquid, you know. Like, so
I know. I
I
mean, I
want to
wonder
be
what
able
I
to,
fucking smoked. I mean, I was smoking out of a can when I first started smoking. It was
right,
like like heavy. It was like 2005. We are all still like, it's
I want
great
to
the
be
way
able
it's come
to,
along.
Do
I
you
mean,
guys do you guys
I
not? Do you
get you.
guys remember the Monster Energy can days when you just take a Monster Energy can,
I know
fucking
that's so
pop some
toxic,
holes in it
right?
with a toothpick?
fucking poke
Yeah,
holes. Yeah, walking up and down the street with a fucking Coke can.
yeah,
I remember those days too well. I mean,
I
or
heard
like
about
making
those.
plastic bombs out of Gatorade bottles. Like that was wild. Doing that in like high school. That'd be funny. But
And then
yeah.
you can't forget when people were taking just metal straws,
Oh, Jesus.
and then they'd use them to smoke dabs out of.
Yeah, dude, hot knives and shit doing over the stove. I remember those days. Like, I mean, I remember yeah, I remember the early hash days for sure. Very questionable shatter, very questionable
Do you
oil in
remember?
general.
Do you
You
remember
know what I
when
mean?
mod? Do you remember when the mod, like the smock mod, had like that
No,
customization where you could smoke anything out of it?
no, I don't remember that at all.
So you like loaded it up, bro, and it just like you could smoke it like it was a modification, and people were using it for all sorts of things, and so they had to make it illegal.
No, I mean that makes sense. That's funny though. Like, that's pretty awesome. I never heard of that. I would have enjoyed that
Yeah,
back in
bro.
the day.
The only bad thing about smock though, and this is kind of like what tanked their brand, was people were taking off the safeties on them, and then they fucking were blowing up.
Jesus
And
Christ.
well, what the safety did was, the safety was to like
Yeah,
limit the smoke, how like strong the smoke is coming out, and because
yeah.
that's what was causing the batteries to like explode. And so then these people would go in the vape, like open it up, and they'd turn off the safety, and then they just fucking hit it, and it hit really hard. Like, don't get me wrong, see some fat clouds, then all of a sudden, boom, fucking explosions. You know what I mean? And people are
Yeah.
losing their bottom jaw, and Yeah, it was
But
not good,
dude,
bro.
the open blast days were wild. People setting themselves on fire and shit, blowing their hair off.
Really?
Like open blast. Oh yeah, dude, open blast and shatter in their kitchen or some shit. Just like one little spark and it's fucking you're done.
Yeah.
I had a friend have I had more than one friend have it happen to him. I mean, there was a kid recently that I mean that's a scary thing with glass too. If you have an oxy leak or it's a tank venting in a small space and you don't have the vents on, if it's over oxygenated, you can light a joint or some shit and you just fucking go up like crazy flash burn. So it's
That's
definitely
scary, bro.
that's another wild thing. Hey, that's really scary. That just happened recently and we were like, holy shit.
I
I
feel
mean,
like they're gonna make a
you don't
Beavis
think
and
about it in a bigger
Butthead episode on that.
yeah, I know. It's like it was surreal. But having a bigger shop is nicer and always leave your vents on when you're anywhere working or it's venting, you know? Oh my god, now every dog in the world is gonna bark. Come here, buddy, please. Um, come here.
So, question then, mate. What do some of your like tattoos mean? Are
Come
any
here.
of them
Come here.
for glass? Like, are any of them for your art?
I do. I have one. I think I no, it's funny. I only have one glass tattoo, but I have diamond shears right there.
Nice, bro.
That one I share with Dosher. We both have finger diamond shear tattoos, which is strange. Come here. I mean, I don't know. I have like there's so many, like, my legs are done too, but, I like, a lot of them my whole left leg is there is no meaning on purpose, which I guess becomes meaning, but it's like, I would get tattooed for so many hours, and I'd be in the chair, and we hear these people coming with these stories, and it means that, it means this, and we're like, "Shut the fuck up, they're cool." That doesn't even matter sometimes, you know what I mean? And so we kind of, like, jokingly made a sleeve about that, but I totally have other ones that absolutely mean shit, you know? Like, my hand's a chickadee, which was it's a Massachusetts state bird, so that was like, "Alright, like, I'm leaving home," like, that kinda made sense for that, like a beheaded chickadee, and then I mean, oddly, a lot of them are just like, "Alright, it's cool," you know what I mean? Like, I have my throat is a lion and a lamb with, like, the crown of thorns here, which I'm not religious at all. I just like the concept, and I got a lion, so I was like, "How do I complete it?" You know? So a lot of my things have been like, "Alright, they're cool." Like, I like fishing, so I have a bass on my chest and my stomach and shit. But yeah, even my arm is just like is a wolf and a skull and a snake because I was like, he makes cool wolves and skulls and snakes. Like, so yeah, some of them are kind of meaningless, but this one is probably the only real meaning is my dog's paw, and then the feather was from my grandmother who always had a thing with feathers. So, but yeah.
Fuck yeah. So, question then, mate, right? When you were making like your first ever zombie piece, how many broke?
I got really lucky, which was funny. I think the first one I ever did came out like super clean, which made me
Oh,
start
really?
making more. Yeah, which is probably a bad thing because it was like I lost a lot in the process since I lost a ton. But yeah, my first one was kind of like an anomaly. I used to make them really, really small too. I'd make them small, a small canister, small head, like truly action figure size. So like mini function, and then I would do like solid legs and feet. Now I do them larger. I don't know why I got bigger. It wasn't really on purpose. Kind of just naturally happened. But I do bigger, and I'll do a hollow body. I do a one big hollow section, and I superheat half of it. Usually roll two different frits, so give like pants and then a belly, and I'll cut it and seal two hollow legs that essentially come down, and then I'll add a little solid to that. So the process has gotten different with them. So there's way more water, and they function better because I can literally like tuck a perk in one leg even. But but they're harder to pull off because of that. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, I don't know. And I have this instinct to just go bigger because it's fun, but it's definitely way riskier.
Yeah, by the way, cheers, Jamurai. Happy birthday, bro.
Cheers, my friend. I just took a rip.
Yeah, get another
I
beer.
gotta reload. Yeah, I'll be back.
That was really spicy.
Ah, back. Mm. Yeah, I'm sorry he's crying like a psycho. I was like, he's fucking terrible. It's when since he got older. He never did this when he was young.
Man, I should not have. I cleaned it out with ISO before, and then I fucking
Yeah.
washed it out. I poured some water in there, and like I wiped the water around, And I thought that like that would be good enough, but like I think the ISO stayed in there a little bit, and that really affected that
I hate
flavor
when it
shot
tastes like
taste.
ice though.
It was just a tiny little bit, and I mean like, cause bro, ISO's dangerous. That's that's
Yeah, no.
70% right there.
I mean, my shopmate was using fuel that he bought from Home Depot instead of ISO at one point. It was pretty funny. I mean, I've seen glass blowers do crazy fucking things. I mean, my buddy would he would microwave it and then drop it in the piece from like a little cup that he would microwave. And I know a ton of people that do that. Like I know that's common, but that would always freak me out. Just the vapors off it. I was like, no way, not for me.
Yeah, I got a question for you, bro. Have you ever seen a piece
Yep.
of that robot? You know the robot I'm talking about, the old robot that's like Wally, but we're talking like the OG AI that like was walking around. Well, not walking around. It was rolling around and it was doing stuff and like it was in a movie.
Wait, are you talking about Johnny Five?
Yeah.
Yeah, Johnny Five. Fucking why can't I think of the goddamn movie? That's my era, dude. That's funny.
Why did no one make a move like a piece on that? No one.
Johnny Five would be a sick piece, dude. That's crazy. That would be a good idea. I like that.
Did everyone just forget about
I
it?
mean, that's funny. Probably. I mean,
Mhm.
most of my references are outdated. Wait, how old are you? That's funny for you to know that. Come here.
I'm 21. I'm just a young fellow.
Oh Jesus.
I'm not old. You know, it's actually kind of funny, man, because I feel like a lot of people like when they look at me and they hear the about the podcast and stuff. There's a lot of like disrespect towards a lot of like younger fellows. I feel like they almost they hold themselves up on the statue because they're older. And I mean that's with
Yeah.
everybody. But like I don't know, I always feel like sometimes that's not the best like mentality to live by, you know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's fucking rad you're doing it. Like, especially, you know what I mean? I think it's rad to be doing it early. That's fucking impressive. You know what I mean? Trust me, as an older cat in class, it's it's my shopmates remind me all the time because my shopmate's like 26, something like that, and my other shopmate's 33, and it's like, yeah, you feel older. It's funny, like you know what I mean. Pre-30, I was always like, man, I'm not gonna care. You know what I mean? And now you're like, God damn, like you look around at people doing shit at certain ages, and you're like, fucking hey, dude, like good for you. Like I wasn't doing shit like that at that age, like that type of shit, you know.
Well,
So
it's
it's
just,
like
I don't
I
know,
give you
man.
credit.
I had an ex. I tell people about this all the time. I had an ex, and you know like how some exes like drive men to be DJs and like fucking guitar, like people like on
Yeah.
it. Yeah, my ex drove me to be a podcast owner. You know what I mean? Like now I'm a
Hmm.
co-host of this podcast, and Jamra is the other co-host.
I mean, that's awesome, man. That's great. That's fucking great. You know what I mean? I mean, I didn't even start blowing glass till I was 23. You know what I mean?
Fuck
So,
yeah,
I mean, like I said, two
that's
of the
still
kids that I
young.
was in this, it's still young, but it's like some of these cats coming up at like 19, like you know, like really getting in it, and they're so good. They get so good so fast. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the Salem kids, that's such a huge thing. Like especially around here, people coming over from Jersey to Philly, and like I mean, they're fucking trained. They're good glass blowers. You know, like I said, two of the kids I just taught a class, they were both 21. One does more like functional, one does more sculptural. Both like really good fucking glass blowers. You know what I mean? Where I think like, man, if I had already gotten to there by that age, it's interesting when you look back. You know what I mean? A lot of people you hear, a lot of people definitely don't. I hear most people starting earlier than me. You know what I mean? So, but I don't know. I'm happy.
The
I liked
industry
art
was
school. You know
different
what I
though,
mean? I took it
remember?
serious. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I came in right time for sure.
But you're the forerunners.
Yeah, I was like in the in between. I think like the real originators would be like the Hams.
Well, they
Like
were
Ham
10
was
years,
the first
yeah,
recycler.
10 years before you. 10 years before you.
Yeah, exactly. I was in that like when I moved to Philly when I was 29, and I was like, I remember because everyone was like, oh, like you hang with like the old heads, but I was like, they're my age now. You know what I mean? When I moved here, they were all 36, 37. and like, but had been blowing glass like twice as long. You know what I mean? But they really like. I always say like it was people like Hops, Jop, Jag, Nick, Zach Pukowitz, Ouchkick, who's like phenomenal sculptor, one of the early sculptors. A lot of those dudes and those Philly dudes, I mean Sling, Germ, like Germ's a little after, but still him. They like made it aware to us that like, oh, you can do this for a living. Like they were the testers. They were the ones that were completely out there. You know what I mean? Like Jason Lee, Mike Fro. They were the ones that had to like be like, I don't know if this is a living. And so like we got in
So
it,
was
like or at least my
so
time
was
period got in it.
Glasgow.
It was safer.
Glasgow, he's been in the industry for 25 years.
Oh damn. There you go. Yeah,
So
that's respectable. There you go.
that's the beginning of
Yeah,
the industry, basically, right there, bro.
yeah. Late '90s. It was late '90s lot selling pipes and shit. You know what I mean? That's
Isn't that
crazy. Yeah.
crazy?
Yeah.
Bro, I
It's
was
wild. I
so
mean
stoked to
Sling's
have
one
him
of those.
on.
Yeah, that's a cool guess. My shopmate was checking you guys out, like I said, and he was like, "Damn, that glass hole." Like, I've never met him, like I said, but his work's awesome. So
Dude, it is, man. I love his work. I definitely think that a lot of people can like take representation from like what he said in that video. And what I mean by that is like he said, just don't look at other people's like art. Just don't like
yeah,
follow them and be nice and stuff and interact with them, but don't look at their art. And the reason
I
why
would
is
agree. I would
because
agree with that statement.
even
Yeah,
if you don't purposefully try to take like inspiration from their pieces, you will if you do.
yeah, I think that's 100% true. I've made a piece and been like, "Holy shit, I just made their mouthpiece" because I saw it and I thought it was cool. And also, it's also hard to. I know I've done that and been like, "Fuck, I can't tell this thing now," or like, you know what I mean? It's too close, or like, that's real shit. That's actually good advice.
Kind of off
It's
topic,
hard
but
looking at other art too because go on.
yeah, yeah. You know what? I was thinking, have you seen bowl pieces where there's a ram horn on the bottom of the bowl piece? You know, instead of like a long horn.
I know. Well, Grime does ram horns on a lot of his characters. I know that.
I think so. That's a
No, I
cool
don't
idea.
know if I think.
That's a
Yeah,
cool.
you
I
should check
would
out
want to
Grime
see
Glass.
a ram horn.
He's solid as fuck. Yeah, yeah. He does like I think he has even some Sherlocks that just have those. I know he has like genuine like he does these like little like Scully characters that are really tight, and he does ram horns on those guys that are really nice. I've
I
tried one
really
or
like what
two.
Ghost is
That's
doing.
actually a great idea. Ram horn is a great fucking idea. God damn,
I know,
that's
dude.
a
I
good
just
idea.
imagined it, and it was like, dude, this must be a thing, right? Like, like, you know, I don't think they're copying. If you make a ram horn, I don't think you're copying anyone, but you can make it in your own style, and it can be
No, I
amazing.
yeah, you definitely can. I weirdly have a thing that's funny even talking about horns. I have a weird thing with horns where I mean, my shopmate constantly says like, "Does it need another horn?" I was like, "I don't think it needed a horn to begin with." Like, I like accents, but I'm also like, I weirdly am very like minimalist with certain things. I
Yeah,
feel like
you know what it
less is
was?
more unless you can control more. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, you know what it was when I saw those bowl pieces with the horns coming off the side. Obviously, that's becoming pretty common. Like I see that a
yeah,
lot,
yeah,
and
I know you don't
something
play
like that,
games,
except a ram horn.
probably. I know you probably don't play games, Jimmy, but I definitely, bro, if you want some inspiration, I really recommend checking out like a lot of the newer games on Steam, bro. There's a lot of cool
okay,
games that have like
Check
amazing
out
art
Fallout New
styles
Vegas.
that like, bro, like what was that? What was that one game I played? It was about the Cult of the Lamb. Cult of the Lamb has a little like it's such a beautiful and niche like art style, but then the game is about
okay.
satanic shit, and it's fucking
Hey,
hilarious.
that'd be
Like it's
awesome.
funny.
I love it.
It's a fun little game, and like I don't know. I think that there's a lot of like different styles, like how Salt is just pushing the boundaries. They're pushing the boundaries of
Yeah.
like what you can consider cute, and like that's why I think like I said, bro, there's a lot of inspiration like you could definitely take from the art that's being brought up now as well into the Steam
Yeah.
into the Steam industry. Sorry, I stuttered there so much.
No, that makes sense though. That's fucking sick. I mean, and honestly, I definitely will check that out. I mean, horror movies were everything. It's like why I did everything. Like I did a lot of effects in school and shit. And so that's why I just like it's the thing I like the most. So it's kind of like it's almost like not thinking. It's just like I can just always be making something, you know? But speaking on Salt too, I mean, like he was one of the first sculpturists I saw ever that was especially making monsters and selling. And I mean, he's an amazing, amazing glass blower to actually see him work too. Like he's a phenomenal glass blower. You know, he's a nice guy too. But like he's truly one of like the godfathers of like, okay, you can make shit that doesn't look like glass and isn't a pipe shaped pipe. You know what I mean? So I always get like I mean anyone who sculpts I feel like has to pay ultimate credit and dividends to Salt and Ghost. I still think Ghost is like is still my favorite sculptor in all of glass for sure.
Yo,
I messaged Salt. Salt,
Yeah.
he's a little late on responding. Probably just didn't see it. He responded back though the first time. Um, he also might not just want to come on just because we're so small, but like, we're
Yeah, I mean
growing.
he's a really sweet guy. He's busy too though. I know he's got like people and he works
Yeah,
like that are working for him and stuff too. So
that's
I
why,
mean, but
bro.
there's
Like I
a
said,
lot of the
man,
guys
we're
a lot of
we're
the
open
guys
to
that
schedule stuff. Like that's why, like, bro, I
yeah,
tell people that all the time. We're able to schedule
yeah.
anything from Tuesday to Friday. You just got to talk to us about it. That's all it is.
Yeah,
If you
no, I
can't do it
mean
this
a lot
month,
of
next month, the next month, or the next month, like
yeah.
just talk to us.
I mean I'll say it with a lot of the bigger guys in the industry too, like the ones I've met specifically, I honestly can't think of one that was like a big name that ever acted like it, you know? I'm sure there are them, and I know there's people with much smaller names that act like they're big, you know what I mean? But like, I mean, some of the biggest names I've met have always just been it's like they're like if you're there, if you're at a trade show with them or if you're in their studio or they're coming into your studio and you're working wherever you're at, they're like, "Oh, you're here." Like, you know what I mean? And that's something I'll say has been I've always been like amazed at and was always really cool, you know what I mean? I mean, another great sculptor who's like that is Coil. Like Coil is one of the just like coolest dudes ever, like super sweet, down to earth, like you know what I mean? And phenomenal fucking glass blower, like
That's
crazy
what
good
we
glass
need,
blower. It's insane.
down to earth
Yeah,
people who are like not, because like I feel like, and I'm not gonna of course say names, but I feel like there is of course some artists out there, and that's of course every industry, but there's some artists out there who
yeah.
are kind of egotistical, and I definitely think
Oh,
that
there's
it
a ton.
hurts the
There's a
industry,
ton.
because it gives you guys a bad
I've noticed
name
like the
and rep.
yeah, no, I've noticed a ton. I feel like the ones that are the biggest are like the 100,000, 200,000. Like the coils oddly have the least ego. Do you know what I mean? They're just like, yeah,
Mhm.
man, I'm here doing it. Like they know their shit's rad and they're not gonna fucking, you know what I mean? I mean, there's like
They're
Kinder Glass is another
expensive,
great
but they
example of
won't
that.
they won't bullshit. Like you're not gonna get like the only
Yeah.
one that I've been kind of pissed off was I shot a message I think to it. I forgot who it was at this point, but it was I went on their website and like because you can't message them on Instagram. I shot him a message because I was looking for like a piece, and I just wanted to hear his pricing. And like I shot him my email and all that, bro, on his website, and no return for
Hmm.
months. I was like, damn. And he still hasn't. I was just like, damn. And it kind of like, I don't know, it deterred me a little
Yeah.
bit. It's just like, okay, cool. I get it. Like,
There's
you
definitely
know,
guys like that. Yeah. There's guys who just get off it too and they're just like not in responding. You know what I mean? It's definitely not the way it should be. But yeah, there's it's interesting. There's a lot of different types of characters that get drawn to this for whatever reason. You know what I mean? Like the
no,
backgrounds
100%.
of so many glass workers I've met from like criminal and I had to do it to like
Really?
I studied it to I mean, yeah, like tons of people just get in it for the wildest reasons. You know what I mean? And it's cool. I think that's one of the things that makes it interesting. You don't know whether you're getting like an art school kid, a scientific kid, or a kid who just like picked it up because they were like a degenerate and doing too many drugs and these guys smoked weed and they hung around one day and then like it's cool. Like people's stories
I
are
heard
always
some
pretty
people do
interesting.
sell weed in the industry.
I mean, it's definitely huge. It's definitely forever huge. A lot of people get in it doing that too. You know what I mean? That's usually and then most full time guys though, it's so taxing with doing glass that like I mean, I think earlier, like years ago, I'd see more people like side hustle with it. Now it's people's like side hustles that becomes their main hustle and they don't blow glass as much or they do something like that, you know what I mean? But it's cool. I mean, with the cannabis industry is amazing now. You know what I mean? A lot of these guys get deep in it and work for cool hash companies. So it's like you're not blowing glass because of that. Like that's fucking rad. You're doing something else that's great for all of us. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I mean, especially in New England, the companies up there are great, and like some of the hash up there is that's getting produced is like so phenomenal.
Have you tried it?
Yeah, I still got friends when I go up or people come down, you know what I mean? Like most of my old school glass friends. I mean, a lot of my friends up there do work in that, you know what I mean? Because it got, I mean, we were legalized almost 8 years ago in Mass, so it became a industry fast, you know what I mean? Like a big industry. So a bunch
Dude,
of my guys are like
look,
big
you know any
legal guys up
companies
there.
that are ever like looking to sponsor, someone? Shoot them our way.
I could, yeah, I could maybe talk to people. I'm not as tight with them anymore. I usually just get it by way of people or shit like that, but there's one or two that I still know, you know what I mean? Yeah, that
Fuck
would
yeah,
be tight. That'd be awesome.
dude, because we're looking for a sponsor, and I'd love to, dude. I'd love to try out some wax, man. And like, dude, always hearing about new flavors and stuff coming out. Like, dude, that's fucking awesome. That's rad as shit, dude. Like
Yeah.
I'd take like sponsorships from anyone realistically for that stuff. Like, unless it's not FDA approved, and that's, I mean, everything's like
Yeah.
basically FDA approved.
Yeah, no,
So
these yeah, now it all is. They're all like big legal companies, like the rosin and shit up there are amazing.
exactly,
And even the seed, it's cool to see the fucking seeds getting sold the way they are and resold and stuff. It's kind of like industries born out of industries with legalization. So
exactly.
I think with all that too, we talked about glass coming back. It's like it's always gonna be there. I mean, that's always gonna be there. So I think it will sway. I don't know if there's gonna be a boom like there was, but I think it will swing back up. I that's maybe
Mhm.
hopeful thinking, but I do kind of believe it, you know?
I'll be right back. I got to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, no worries.
So you're saying it's on the way up. You're saying.
I'm saying I'm hoping it is. I feel like I don't know
Right.
if it's soon. I don't know if it's in the next 6 months of the year, but I feel like there's gonna be some reason for people to start buying again. You know what I mean? And like if you're around and you stay around, like somehow I feel like it can work. You know what I mean? Like in that sense. But because like I was saying before, it was like a lot of sales. It was big buys. It was easy. It felt easy. You know what I mean? The work wasn't easy, but the sales felt good and worth it. You know? And
Right.
they might never go back fully to that, but I feel like there's gonna be a
It's kind
time
of a
now where
drought now. You're saying.
yeah, yeah. It's just it's like I know I was down on it. I'll be honest. Like if you asked me that same, if I was saying this 3 months ago, I'd be like, "Fuck this, industry's dead, industry's dead." But I'm much more hopeful than I was at that time, at least. You know what I mean? I feel like there is hope for it because I've seen swings before. You know what I mean? So
I get you.
I don't know, and it's still rad. It's still fun to blow glass. If you can enjoy it just a little, it's worth it. You know?
That's fun. Very true. So, what if I had like a piece and I waited 10 years? Do you think the value would increase, something like that? Because I've worked a lot with stocks,
Um.
and I know with
Okay.
art that might happen too, right?
Yeah, it's definitely so it's interesting. I actually had MTP said this one time, and he goes, "You're not buying." I was smaller. I'm still not big, but I was like a lot smaller. And he took a risk buying my piece, and he was kind of like, he goes, "You're not investing in like the big thing yet. You're investing that they might grow." So I think it's definitely artist to artist. I feel like if it was me like a few years ago to like starting to my first 6 7 years more so, I feel like time off like as artists, like, we do a disservice to ourselves like getting caught up in addiction or taking time off or not being consistent working and losing that name because you're really like you're only as good as your last piece is the thing I used to hear people say every single time. You know what I mean? So it's like I feel like
All right.
certain artists, that's a guarantee. You can go, wow, that's a 10-year-old sling or that's a 10-year-old Jop or I mean, even older than that, but, like, any kinda name like that, you know what I mean? I feel like you're gonna absolutely see a crazy amount of people wanting it for gnarly amounts of money, you know what I mean? Myself, I don't know if I can include myself in that right now, you know what I mean? But if I stay
Right.
consistent and I stay with it, maybe in 5 years or 6 years or whatever, it could be that too, you know what I mean? I feel like that's a very the appreciation in your art is a very earned thing, and it's also being smart about not underselling yourself, so other people feel cheated or making it clear, like, "This is a deal. I'm giving a deal on this piece just today because 'cause I'm trying to get it sold," and they're not all that, so then instead, it's like, "Okay, well, I'm lucky I got it for 250, not the normal 4," or something like that, you know? So I feel like that's a valid way too, but Yeah, I mean, to answer your question more simply, it's like, yeah, on certain people's names, 100%, but not all
Yeah,
glass pieces. I
yeah.
think some will
Based
100%
on the name,
depreciate.
depending on the name.
Yeah,
I get you.
yeah. And I feel like a name that's now retired that's big or was big is even better. That's definitely gonna get you
And then
know,
it's out of
like I said, there's
circulation.
a lot of
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
If they stop making
there's a limited
pieces, then I could see how their whole supply is worth more.
yeah. Um, yeah, semi works that way. So
So, so do you
yeah,
think you'll
I've always heard
continue?
about like sorry.
Do you think you'll continue going hard and try to get the reputation up? Is that your path?
It kind of is right now. I mean, I always go back and forth and questioning other things. There's like other shit I really like to do. That I feel like I could do, but for some reason I do. Like I feel a little more committed to it than I had. And like not that I ever wasn't committed, just like I said, burning out is real, And so
Of
I feel
course.
like now, yeah, it's like right now that's my plan to just be like, you know what, I was gifted an opportunity in a huge way and it lined up right to come back. And it's like I don't know, I feel like I feel it more than I have in a long time. So like I
That's a
was
good
saying,
feeling.
hopeful and that type of shit. So yeah, and I'm gonna just try to keep pushing. If something else comes with it, I don't think I could ever fully leave glass in any manner, and I don't have any plans to now. More so like if something else comes along that I can do with it and still be productive in glass and progressing and keeping the name, because I don't feel like it's in my heart right now to just give it up. I almost gave up like two different times, like maybe three, but like two real times where I was just like, I don't know, like fuck this, you know what I mean? Like the second time, it wasn't even necessarily money. It was just like I said, being trapped in a studio alone and just being like, there's no work party, there's no weekends. Like, you forget how much you loved Friday because you had 2 days off, like when you were in school or working a 9 to 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. For some reason, it feels like it's worth it every time. It feels like there was some reason that you get drawn back. And I know other guys that have done the exact same thing, But yeah, now I got to do the service to like I said, be hard and like deal with the fucking days that I wanna be there, you know what I mean? Like, that's so much work because there's so many days we're just not inspired or you don't wanna do it, and, like, you're like, "Fuck, this is still a job, I gotta do this," you know what I mean? So
Yup. Cheers. I'm taking a rip.
okay, awesome. Talk real quick.
What were you saying you were saying that you wanted to stay in it and build up your reputation? You were saying something about showing me your pieces.
Oh,
Were you saying that?
I only have a few dries. I only have a few dries on me, but I can show you a few.
Oh, yeah.
Here, alright, like, this is one I've been smoking. I don't know how well that is even, like, coming in.
Very pretty, man. That
And
looks
so,
nice. Yeah.
yeah, so I was doing, like, hammers, like, zombie hammers, and then I was doing corn cobs at one point. Um, my shopmate, like I was saying, John Lorandy, he does these like bent apples. He does like really cool, like specific pipes and Trilocks. Then I did skull, little skull corn cob.
I see. I see. Beautiful,
Um,
man. So that color, that's kind of like a green and purple, is it?
so yeah, this is actually called Blue Exotic, and it's just like frit.
Blue
So it's
exotic.
powdered frit on top of yeah, and so you can see like putting it on at different rates, you can get texture and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, or you can like heat it up pretty smooth. And then there's two zombie corn cobs as well.
Right,
Which
right.
are
Nice.
yeah, different mix. I actually forget. I think this is dark malty and then some sort of butterscotch or weird mix, and then this is butterscotch, which is like one of the like pseudo flesh tones you can
Very
use.
cool pipes.
But there's
Yeah.
a lot of ways to get flesh tone.
So have you made any Gandalf pipes? Any sauce?
No, actually.
No.
Um
Okay.
I have a good friend who makes amazing Gandalf pipes though. There's B Money Glass. I don't know if you know B Money.
B Money Glass. I'll check it out. Okay.
Yeah, he's a great, great fume artist out of Long Island. Um, He does a lot of cool bubs, a lot of cool work in general, but he did Gandalf pipes for a good minute that were like, they were really legit Gandalf pipes. I could though. I did Sherlock's for a minute. Were definitely like what I was in, you know what I mean? Actually, wait, I have one that broke, but that is still like the bowl push broke. But this was the first ever milli section Sherlock that I ever did.
Okay.
Those two. I don't know how well you can see that even, but
Pretty. It has an
it's like
eye.
two big milli sections.
Yeah.
No, it's just like all like yeah, this is like what I was talking about the milli stacks. Yeah, no, I've never done big Sherlocks like that.
Right. Nice. I haven't seen many Sherlock pipes.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, my shopmate does a ton of different styles as well. I was doing zombie heads with a very very tiny um little like bend in the Sherlock, and then I've done like kind of like chunkier, more like actually like Sherlock Holmes style Sherlocks too. But yeah, I mean that's like it's such a classic, the one piece
So
or
you're
the two
doing a
piece.
lot of
It's
Sherlock.
definitely
Yeah. So you're
yeah.
doing a
That's
And
lot
what
of
made my money for a minute was
yeah,
just doing those. Like I was getting
those
those to
Sherlocks.
shops for
Okay.
a minute, and yeah, yeah.
you make
But
any sidecars?
yeah, this one I just showed actually is the sidecar. So like that was a big vessel for like okay, I can just make whatever head and then throw it on a matching. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah. So kind of like little hammers too, but
Sidecars are rare.
really. Dude, in my time, that was like these were like the classics. Like this is all anyone had was like shit like that. Was
I
like
just saw Twisted
it was
selling a sidecar for $300, and it was pretty basic.
okay. I mean, dude, some of the Fro Mike Fro dry pipes in the day were like $800 dry pipes and shit. Like he had some wild ones, and this is 15, 16 years ago. You know what I mean?
Mhm. When you first started, was it intimidating?
I mean, not really. Like I was so kind of like blindly just like I know I want to do this. You know what I mean? Where I never felt that. It was frustrating, and I fucked myself up a few times. Like I cut myself twice, really bad. That were just completely just not just being wrong in technique, not knowing what I was doing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like the tendon on my thumb, like vertically this way, so it didn't like cut it completely. I didn't need surgery, but that was like in a stint for a while. Bunch of
What
stitches
piece was
stabbed my
that
hand.
during? You, s- did you sell the
That
piece
was
for
during I
extra?
was actually making I did sell a piece. That's just funny. I was making a cassette man. I don't know if you've ever seen Regular Show, but it was the cassette,
Yeah.
the anthropomorphic cassette. I was doing those for a little while, so like a cassette with just legs, and so I literally just get a flat square thing, sculpt the cassette itself, but I had to ream with tungsten 2 little holes in it. I just didn't have my heats right. I was on a 9.5 blow tube and it snapped. And so, because I was pushing with tungsten to get through this hole on the cassette to make one of them, snaps at the base of it. So it was like a hollow shard of glass. And I hit my thumb. And I remember I was working alone and I was just like, man, I was like, what did I spill? Because it was like I felt water and I felt warm on me. It took my glasses up and you could see it like spurting from because I had hit a not a fucking artery or a small artery, whatever it is, capillary or some shit
Yeah.
like that.
Some
So it was like
sort
literally
of
like spurting out.
vein. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was literally it was this thumb, which was just like boom, so like lopped off on the side. And so I was like, all right, that's fucking good. But I was ready at the time. I have my own little procedure in the shop.
So
I always
that
try to keep
recovered.
some sort of sugar.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Your hand recovered and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I started working differently with that thumb for sure. And I also gouged this one into the bone one time. So I had this up for a while. So I overused my middle finger. And because I over time, like I would roll with one hand, which is super improper to do, and have a big section of 50 by 5 hollow tubing on a thing, and I'd just be going like this, like all day to cover it up and frit to make the sculptures and shit. And so like since then, this finger goes like way off to that side. Like stupid little things like that I could have avoided, but I adjusted to the way my hand moves. You know what I mean? So it definitely affected it, but it wasn't like end career ending. That is a
Right.
career ender if you cut it if you cut this one like that, it's really hard to come back from, and the surgeries don't take well. I know I had a guy who taught one of my really good friends that happened to him, and he never blew glass right again. But if you cut like this, like vertically, or and like you know, what I mean, you're better off. So,
Okay,
but
okay. That's a huge risk you guys have to take. You can just cut yourself and everything's over.
yeah, I mean, I there's a story of my friend. I mean, there's just a story of a pretty big glass blower who was pushing a piece down like this, and it broke in the middle of the punty. So it was a 9.5 hollow punty, and his hand just went straight through the broken punty, like right out the back of his fucking hand. Oddly, it made it perfectly through everything, like right in the middle. So he was completely fine. But I've heard crazy ones. My good friend was working in North Carolina for Sin, the old tube company, and he ended up same thing, snapping it, and it went into this part of his arm and through. And so, but all the way through and cut off. So then it was like literally like blood out this side and shit. So that shit's like rare for what it's worth, but it's easy. I mean, even a stringer in your eye, like shit like that, like it's we get casual with it because I think you have to be, you know what I mean? But it is like, and you once you get better, you take the time and the precaution. But like it's easy. Little accidents are so easy. You know what I mean? Cold working is gnarly too. Like working the saw and stuff is like my shopmate does it well. I'm still anxious on the saw sometimes.
Right. Yeah, people got to be careful out there.
Yeah,
No, for
definitely.
real.
And with us too, like venting, I mean, we work with a lot of fume. I work with powder and shit, which is like everyone says is a death sentence, which it kind of is. But like,
Venting.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
definitely a lot to
How
be
is it a
aware.
death sentence?
Yeah, working with powder, like powdered frit is like it's gnarly. You know what I mean? It's gnarly. And it floats way different than you think it does. And like we'll throw it and shit too. So it's like I don't know, the whole the whole of it is very like I think that's what draws a lot of people. I mean, that's what drew me to it too, because it's like cool. It's like fucking man, it's like I'm playing with fire all day, which is like so childish but rad. You know what I mean? And to be
Right.
like, yeah, you can hurt yourself. It's like it's kind of like there's part of that that's to it that I think I don't know. I like. I think everyone likes a little bit. You know what I mean? It's pretty cool.
So explain the venting. How does the venting work? Um, with
So like because we're combining oxygen, forced oxygen and propane, we're creating like carbon monoxide and a
yeah.
ton of other contaminants. As well as if you're in an over oxygenated area, like I was talking about, you can ignite like pretty easily.
What about the
And
exhaust?
so
Can
like
you attach a crazy exhaust pipe up or something? Like, what do you do
yeah, it's
about?
pretty much like that. Like yeah, like so people do overhead, people do like booths, people you can do a lot of different things. But yeah, usually it's like one massive fan. We have in one of our rooms like an overhead, so it's like a big like not a square, kind of like an octagon almost. And
So you
everyone
need
just
like
blows
a
glass
cooking
towards the
fan.
middle, one massive hood. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's like pushes outside. Usually it's 100 square feet, 1,000 square feet for every square foot of bench. You need
Yeah.
1,000 CFM for that for each one.
You have to
So
do
like, yeah,
something
it's
carbon
important though. I mean,
offset.
what'd you say?
Do you have to do something for the carbon offset or no?
No, I mean we usually you just have intake from a different part of the studio and then just like rock it. I mean, a lot of people don't overemphasize that, which you really should. But like, I mean, I've worked in some shops that they do not pull the way they're supposed to. You know what I mean? So it's a hard thing because we're not HVAC people. A lot of us are just like, you know what I mean? So it's like we figure it out. But my shop though pulls really well. My shop's vents are amazing. So
No, what I was meaning is like, are you guys required to do some sort of like carbon offset, like like how certain companies are, like they have to plant a certain amount
oh
of
no, I
trees.
mean maybe eventually, but no one's coming for us yet with anything. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, I shouldn't even say it, but I know most of my glassblower friends don't pay taxes. Like Christ, you know what I mean? Like this is they're so off grid. No one's thinking on that
Yeah,
stuff.
it is like a great profession where um, it's not quite illegal, but you know, a lot of people duck taxes
Right? Well, I
and
mean, at one
do
time,
illegal things. They selling weed.
oh, dude, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's a wild thing. I mean, a lot of the shops, and I mean, there's certain things I probably shouldn't say, but like, yeah, like it's it's interesting for sure. I mean, it's a great profession. It's a great way to put it. You know what I mean? Because at one point it was illegal. It was so illegal to sell paraphernalia. Like we couldn't sell shit online for real. Borough Market got shut down at one point. I mean, Operation Pipe Dreams happened to a bunch of my friends. You know what I mean? Where their studios were getting raided and their pipes were getting smashed.
Yeah,
That
that's a
was like
shame.
after the whole
Really?
Tommy Chong day. Yeah, it was Operation Pipe Dreams. It was called.
That's sad, bro.
A lot of those guys, I know, right? And a lot of the guys that I came up around, like that was they did that so we didn't have to. You know what I mean? And now we can have like person to person sales. I mean, it was the Tommy Chong thing where they weren't allowed to ship in. I think it was ironically with Pennsylvania or Ohio, but they weren't allowed to ship into it. And they had this guy put in like a $10,000 order or something, or $30,000 order, and it would just wouldn't take the money back and just kept bitching and bitching and bitching. I just want the pipes. I just want them. I just want them. And then they finally sent him, and that's what sent Tommy Chong to jail. And that's what like sparked a huge part of Operation Pipe Dreams.
Damn, that's fucked.
Yeah.
So
So we're in a safer day now. People are definitely like, oh, you sell pipes, like that's cool. Before it would just be like, I blow glass. You wouldn't tell people you were a pipe maker. That's
not
why there was
even
the aliases. That's why so many of the early guys went by other names. You know what I mean? Because you
yeah,
needed an alias to
that's
sell your
why there's
work.
this name, the nickname.
Yeah, that's why everyone came up. It's same way as like if you were writing graffiti, you
Oh,
wouldn't
I
write
thought it
Joe
was
on the
just
wall.
like
You know what I mean?
I thought it was like graffiti type stuff, not like hiding your
It's definitely
identity.
inspired by it, but yeah, it's because they had to be illegal about it. That's why I just used my last name because it seems like it's not a real name. Like ZIMK looked like it was fake, so I was like, perfect. I'll just use my name. And I was in the time period where I could put it out there. You know what I mean? I was post Decrim was 2007 in Massachusetts, and but even my first year blowing glass, the end of my first year, I was doing swing arms, and this is way back. I don't know if you guys remember that shit even. Do you? The swing arms, the TI plates.
Not sure.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I'm
Okay, so
yeah.
it was literally just a little bell curve that was like, so it was like like a 10 mil or 14 mil male bell curve, and like just like a little open like umbrella, and there was a wire swing arm and a titanium plate, and so you'd swing that down and hit it like old school hash, but for
So
a
what
rig.
is it
You know what I
called?
mean?
Like if I look
They
it
were
up.
the swing arms, or if you like titanium swings or
Are
like
you talking
vapor
about
swings,
the
like yeah,
e-coils?
the what?
The e-coils?
No, I remember those though, the E nails and the D nail and all that shit. I was in that. I mean, I used to call Taskrock to buy titanium when that was the shit. You know what I mean? I would literally buy the 10 mil universals for males because it was all fucking male joints in the day. Everything switched to males with rigs for a minute. Like it's crazy.
Do you think
But the
an
swing arms are
e-nail?
wild though.
Do you think an e-nail is better than a blowtorch or no?
I mean, I rip my email all the time. It was never the same to me, but I was pre low temp dabs and shit, you know. But I still feel like a good low temp dab, like out of like Slurper or some shit like that. You get a little higher. It's never gonna be as stale. I know people were had ceramic inserts for their emails and crazy shit, and would always be cleaning them, but I feel like they always are a little off. I mean, it's a process. I fucking hate dabbing for that reason. It's like, oh goddamn, especially when you're working, like it seems like nothing. If you're hanging out, it's fine. But like when you're working, you're like, God damn, I gotta heat it up, let it cool down. But I feel like it's still better. I'd still rather do that, you know.
Mm.
But I was saying the reason I brought up the swing arms was because my first year blowing glass, the end of it, I um I was like rushing to finish this order on a Saturday for those swings because they used to be really popular and you could get like 20 to a shop and then a bunch of different shops, whatever. So I had like 20 I was finishing up and they were pain in the ass to bend, fix, whatever. So I got them all done. I'm coming home because I worked in Somerville, which is like literally, it's pretty much Boston. And I'm like about 10 miles north. So I was driving home and tons of traffic. And I was driving this little V-Dub, and there was another V-Dub rolls up next to me, and he was driving crazy around in traffic. It was the exact same car as mine, pretty much. It was a little different year. And then the cops fucking following, he got away. They didn't get to him in time. They pulled me over out of traffic. And so I was like, what the fuck? I'm already late to ship this. And I was like, they were like, oh, like, what are you doing? You were crazy. Then they realized it wasn't me. So they're like, oh, sorry. And then they're like, see this box that's packed to go. And they were like,
Mm.
"What are you doing? Like, where were you coming from?" And I just go, "Oh, I'm coming from my studio." And they go, "What do you do?" And I said, "Oh, I'm a glass blower." And the guy was like, "Oh." And then he goes, the chief was next to me because they thought I was like a psycho in the car. And then he was like, "Pipes?" And I was like, "No, not necessarily." Like, I just said it like because I just was kinda like, it's, like, cool enough, it's 2012, like, they're not gonna immediately, they're like, "Get out of the car." Just the thought that I might be a glass blower in the time the whole thing, pull me out of the car, search the car, they go through all my things, everything was clean. Because if I had a dirty pipe, it would've been a fucking huge deal at the time. Everything was clean. They, come back so they brought it to the squad car, they put me back in, the other guy's like, "I don't know why he's freaking out, it's fine." Like, he was kinda nice to me, whatever. So this is Stadies, they're like our state troopers, we call them Stadies in Boston. He runs back up to me like, "Chief Stady," he has the box open, and he was like, "So, yeah, this is what you do, you making pipes?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Get another profession," and threw them in my front seat, like, broke a few of them, like, really threw them in my front seat, you know? And I was like, "Fuck, that was wild." Like, that was the weirdest, like, holy shit, there's, like, oppression around it, you know what I mean? And then fast forward to 3 years ago, and we're in New York doing a 420 show, smoking a quarter pound blunt, and the cops are, like, sitting there protecting the event. It was just like, "What the
Yep.
fuck is happening?" You know what I mean? To see that contrast and, like, live within that time of it was, like it was something I was talking about recently. It's weird. I think it's great that it's fucking accepted, you know what I mean? But there was a time where it was, like, tough. It was really weird to be a pipe maker, for sure.
Yeah, once they get their tax money, then I guess they're happy. You know.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. Then it's like, "Cool, that's weird, what do you do?" We've had cops walking in the shop and stuff, and it's just like, "Hey, this is going on outside." Like, "Cool bong." Like, nobody gives a shit, you know what I mean? Like, even in not fully legal states, no one gives a shit, so that's kinda cool.
Well,
Yeah.
Or at least
sometimes they
West,
like.
like, Northeast, they definitely don't care.
Sometimes they I've noticed they hang around smoke shops just because like people tend to rob smoke shops. Let's be real here.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think of that, yeah. I mean, Philly's a different breed, so, I mean, like, Philly's a wild town, you know what I mean? It's definitely I've been here almost 8 years, I kinda forget, like yeah, you get used to the insanity, you know what I mean?
Mhm. Oh man, water is
Uh,
so like important, bro. I fucking love water, dude. When you're
yeah.
taking
So,
baths, it's just key.
how long were you in Boston? You were saying.
So, I was, like, born and raised, I worked there for about 5 years blowing glass. So, I worked in Somerville and then another town, Lynn, which is, like, right next to Salem, Mass, which is pretty famous, like, Witch City, Witch Trial, Salem. I went to high school technically, like, almost half in Salem. So, I was there forever, I loved it. I don't know, it's expensive as fuck. I mean, I moved here, I was paying, like it's probably, like, 2 grand a month just, like, keeping the business going in Boston.
Mhm.
And I moved here, and all of a sudden it was like $500 rent, group studio, splitting rent with my ex. It's like $1,200 to live and work. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, and then
So
you
there
know
are
what I
much
mean? It was
better
like
costs
that's why, yeah, and that's why
in
Philly is
Vermont. You're
still
saying
like no, 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 Philly.
in Philly? Okay.
Yeah, because I'm in Philly now. That's where I moved to for like this whole
Right.
scene. You know what I mean? Um, that's why there's still so many good like living, working artists in Philadelphia. Like it's still reasonable and it's small and you can get around and like I mean, I walked to my studio when I was with Hops, it was, like, 8 blocks from my house, or, like, 10 blocks from my house. It's, like, an 8-minute walk to work in a straight line. Like, it was just, like, you know what I mean? It's really, like, accessible to do things and, like, enjoy this. Boston is, like, just crazy expensive, you know what I mean? And I don't know, and there wasn't as much of a connected scene there. There was a lot of independent glass blowers in and around the state and New Hampshire. Connecticut, whatever, but it's like Philly, it's like you see each other at events, you see each other, like, going to the bar, like, you know what I mean? And that was always, like that was a way different scene and a huge reason to come here and then never leave,
Okay.
you know?
So you meet a lot of glass blowers in Philly, just going around.
Oh, yeah, I met everyone down here. Yeah, my old block
Yeah.
was every morning just at coffee because we all worked around each other, like, there was, like, multiple big studios, so I think there was, like, at one point, like, 24 glass blowers on 1 block. And, we're a spot of Philly called, Fishtown, and so it's like that Girard in front under the L, so it's like overhead train, but we worked behind, like, an amazing Italian and, like, restaurant. It was like a fucking barbecue too, but it was, like, amazing Italian. One of the best pizza places, it was the best pizza in America, Badia moved in next to my studio.
That's
So
fun.
it was like you were just, like, so fucking there. Like, we went to this one bar called the L Bar, which became, like, infamous with glass blowers all the way through the country because so many people would come to collab, like all the Japan dudes. Because like when I moved in there, it was like I said, it was like Elbow and Jop and Germ and all of Old Crushmore and Slinger and like my buddy Lucas Euchre and like there was like just there was so much like it was a lot. There was like Kind BFF Z who does amazing sculpture work too. Timmy DZ1 was on the block, so it was like every day there was so many of you working, and then there were so many people coming through. So it was like amazing to get to meet all those people and hang out. And then, like I said, we would hit this bar. People would hear about it and come from Colorado with their first Philly visit and be like, "I gotta see the L bar." You know what I mean? So it was like there was like a true culture in glass in Philly where I feel like I mean, I think there is a lot of big ones. I mean, like Colorado is huge.
Yo,
The
do you mind if
Northwest
I
is
ask
really
you a
big.
question
Seattle.
on this exact
Oh
topic?
yeah, sure.
Actually, do you
Yeah,
think
yeah.
it's hard to bring stuff through TSA still,
No,
like glass?
no.
You know, like
No, I mean, when I travel for trade shows and shit, I just like huge box, screw it together, and I'll check it. And then anything I really want to keep safe or smaller stuff, like I traveled with a gun case the last few times I flew, and
I
I
know,
didn't
but do
get
you like what? Do
any
you like
problems.
double clean it or what?
Yeah, I mean, dirty glass. I just don't bring dirty glass. If I need a rig, I'll just bring an extra one. I'll hit. It's clean. You know what
Like
I
a
mean?
new one?
But I mean, we bring. It's funny coming home from Vegas. Like every time I come home from Vegas, the last few years, I'll always just, like, throw a hash in my fucking bag and shit,
So,
like
cause I wanted to bring what was it the piece that I'm getting from Glassall on a vacation that I'm gonna be taking down onto Florida.
yeah, just good yeah, 1 good ISO, like yeah, 1 or 2 good ISOs for real. My buddy travels with his glass that he smokes all the time, for sure.
Okay, that's what I was just wondering. 'Cause I know that if the
Yeah.
TSA takes it, bro, there's no like getting it. Like it's gone.
Yeah, that's true, but I think it'll be fun. I mean,
You
I've
said you
flown, like I said, with, like, $10,000 worth of glass.
you said you travel with a gun.
No, gun cases.
Gun
Yeah,
cases.
No,
Oh,
Pelican
not
okay.
gun.
case.
That's
I
Pelican
crazy.
was pretty
case.
No,
surprised
gun
for a
cases
second.
for glass, like no, no, like, not a Pelican, like a true old school gun case, like, packed with pendants and
Oh
shit.
shit.
Right,
Like, I'll
right.
walk on the plane with that, and it's like, I see a ton of my friends do that, ton of people do that. It's like my buddy just did a trip and was, like, literally, like, shooting a picture of his glass, like, in the aisle of the plane. Like, people love doing that, you know what I mean? So, I think it's chill. I mean, I'm talking about even back in, like, 2019, it was super chill flying with glass.
Bro. You know what's really exciting to see though as well? Like I've noticed a lot of people are really starting to get a grasp on their styles right now in today's like
Mhm,
era. And a lot of people like bro they're flourishing. Like it's just like Glass Hall, Chaka, Rude Boy Glass, you know, Space Glass, Ghost, you know, you guys are all
mhm.
starting to truly start to develop, you know, actual styles. And I
Yeah, I
think
feel
that
that.
that's probably partially to do with the fact of like you said everybody's more open about you know their tips and tricks and everybody's learning from each other and not taking each other's styles but just learning like quicker ways better ways you know and all sorts of stuff and
Yeah.
that helps out a lot you know.
Right? No, and ways to incorporate other people's techniques they show you that you maybe didn't ever think you'd use, you know what I mean? Or stuff like that. I mean, it is important. It's important. It's still it's hard because like if you develop a tech and someone takes it and you didn't get it there first or whatever, there's still parts of it that feel shitty. But I think it is much more open now, and I think it's better that way. I think it's like a maturing. It shows the industry maturing. That's for sure. Because I think I remember you saying earlier like, oh, like he makes dragons. That was totally a thing. Like the fight for the dragon guy was huge. And now all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, there's Joe Peters dragons, or there's Skaz, or there's like, you know, what I mean, there's a ton of people doing dragons, multiple people doing dinosaurs, just different dinosaurs. It's like there was, in if you were talking about illustration or painting, you wouldn't be like, I do skulls. You're like a million people do skulls. How do you do skulls? You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's really cool. Like, I mean, that exists in glass now. Like, I make skulls. Johnny Carcass makes like Unreal skulls. Brandon Martin makes really cool, weird, kind of like cartoony skulls. You like, there's a type and style for everyone. You know, Grime does like these are kind of painted on ones. Like, so I mean, like, yeah, it's like, why wouldn't you want like 5 different kinds of skulls if you like skulls? Like, why was it so pigeonholed? And that's a cool thing that's ended for sure. I mean, that's a progress for everyone. Oh, baby.
That's a great way to say it, dude. Yeah.
This is actually one of our old shop cats. The shop I just moved into,
Oh.
we had
Yeah, do you have
7
more
different
animals?
cats in. Yeah, there's the dog finally not crying. I'm sure he'll start screaming now. But yeah,
Nice.
we had 7 different cats that would hang around our studio, and there was 3 that we had sleep in the studio, and then we kinda had to get them out of there. They were just, like, pissing on everything. So that's little
Right.
baby, I adopted her. My shopmate, adopted Patches, and then Tony Jr. got adopted out too, so we did get a new shop cat though, Skeletor, because we could not have one. So a glass shop with a cat is always pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm a fan of cats. I'm sure that'd be fun.
Or when is the glass shop gonna get a bear?
A pair.
Yeah.
I already got between my dog and my shopmate's dog, it's chaos already, like
Dude, now I've seen some like, dude, I've seen some of those like black bears, which they're a little smaller. People have been owning them over in like Germany and shit, dude, as pets, man. It'd be raw as fuck.
I know, Russia and shit, that's popular.
Be
Yeah,
so
people can have
awesome.
some crazy pets, man. Like people have wild fucking pets. I used to have like a huge reptile collection actually. That was a big thing I was into.
Oh shit, like what?
Um, so like geckos, snakes, frogs. Frogs got me in it. But like my baby, like my favorite snake was a 17-foot reticulated python, a male. So he's like a lot smaller around,
Mm,
and he wasn't like super heavy. He was like 20 pounds, maybe not even. He was like light for a big snake, you know.
mhm.
Um, Yeah, I like just like yeah, I got into them all. I got super into like tokay geckos that bite and shit like that. And it just
Wait,
gets
they
the
fight?
upkeep is
The what?
crazy. It was literally blowing glass. I was like,
Wait, wait, wait,
yeah,
wait, wait.
there's tooth geckos.
And they fight each other?
No, they'll bite you and they'll draw blood. They got
Oh
like 3
shit.
rows of really sharp teeth. You
Oh
can feed them
shit.
rats and shit, and they'll smash them like frozen rats. Like don't, I wouldn't risk it with a live one with them. They're little, but even the frogs I had Pac-Man and Pixie frogs, and they both eat rats. Pixie frogs will eat like legitimately big rats. They're the second largest frog in the world. So
Oh
yeah,
shit.
people will have lynx for pet. Like in the exotic animal world, like sloths are like big. They're
Sloths
like
are
8 grand.
dangerous though, bro. I've been seeing a lot of videos, man, as of recent, like if a sloth gets a hold on your arm, bro, or like any part of you, dude, they could hurt
Yeah,
you. Their grip strength is insane.
yeah. There's this one called the crocodile monitor that is known for fucking keepers up pretty bad. Like 4.5 inch incisions, like fully shredding their tendons and stuff. But
Jeez.
it's kind of like the draw. They're just gnarly. So it's like I want to keep that. You know what I mean?
It's like the blue
I
ringed
can believe it's
octopus.
tame, but it's like what?
It's like the blue ringed octopus.
Oh yeah, 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 for sure.
The most poisonous
Yeah, or
octopus in the
lionfish or
world.
any of that.
But they're fucking gorgeous, bro. Like literally, bro. Like they're gorgeous. They're beautiful.
I know, I
Best
love them. Yeah,
dude, best fish in the world. Like I've always wanted to own 2 of them, man. But dude, like if they inject their poison into anything, it's dead. Like that's over. GG.
yeah. I mean, I was into hot snakes at one point. Like hots are big in the industry, and in Pennsylvania, you can own them without a license too.
Oh
So,
shit.
like, Okinawa pit vipers and, like, gaboon vipers are, like, pretty much just big slugs, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of those snakes, like, if you get hit by a rattlesnake, like, you're done. Like, you're done, you know
Oh
what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
for real.
it's pretty wild, you know what I mean? Like, if you ever look up that shit, like, YouTube, venom on blood, like, what it does to if it's necrotic or, hemotoxic, like, it'll literally, it shrivels up your blood. So, essentially, it causes the same things as almost getting burned heavily on your body. 'Cause your blood gets so thick, it, like, forces itself out. It's really gnarly. Like, the cure for a rattlesnake bite is even crazier. Thinking that they're kinda like the common one in America, they're really one of the most dangerous in terms of, like, the damage their venom does.
I
Doesn't always
feel you,
kill you,
man.
but it fucks you up forever.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah,
almost stepped
for
on a
sure.
rattlesnake about 4 times now. Um,
Oh my god.
Jeez.
it's just being around a
That
nature reserve in the Massachusetts area. There's gonna be rattlesnakes, guys. Right. So,
yeah,
I
dude,
have
it's
come very close to stepping on one, and I was thankful to be around pretty friendly rattlesnakes because they didn't do anything.
Yeah,
And I
that's good.
definitely
That's
realized
lucky.
afterward that I had walked over a rattlesnake. And no, I
Yeah,
don't have
they
bullets,
hide
dude.
well too.
I just had no idea it was there. They
That's
blend
why
in
they say
really
you're
well.
If
supposed to
you
wear
get just,
pants.
they really do, and they're like, yeah, they're ground, they match the foliage and shit. So if you get just too close, they will hit, and like, hopefully, it's like it's a dry bite. You know what I mean? Because that's what got me obsessed with it. It was like you get hit, and you're like, everything changes in that moment. Like I could be taking a walk or like gardening, and then you're like, fuck, what just happened? You know what I mean?
Dude, you know what's
It
even
is
worse?
crazy.
You wrote that lab that does like anti venom, and so basically what they did was they've been breeding the most poisonous and also the ones that release the most venom and
Okay, yeah.
species, and they keep breeding them and breeding them and breeding them and getting these like really like strong fucking poisonous snakes that are way stronger than a normal snake. They said the average snake for any of their snakes is like 20 times stronger than the normal. Like their whatever you see online for average, it's 20 times that, and that's what they
Well,
have. And it's just so scary to think, bro. Because if one of those snakes bit you, dude, it could be like one of the weaker ones even, and you're gonna die in like a fucking
yeah.
minute. Like it's over.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's definitely crazy. There was a wild guy who on so he's actually like saved people with his blood. This guy Tim Freedy. And then he took after Bill Haast. Bill Haast was like he had the Serpentorium in Florida, and he lived till he was almost 100, and he was injecting venom like daily. So he was immune to like 33 different species. And Tim Freedy did it with black mambas, Mojave rattlesnakes, and I forget a few others. But black mambas, he's taken like over 80 unregistered bites. So he'll just take the snake, have it bite him, and they usually bite twice. And then he just goes, all right, let's see what happens. And he's become
Yeah.
so immune that he can literally get bit by a black mamba, and it's like a little bump. And
So
that's
I'm
it now.
listening.
But
So hold up.
his blood has literally been able to.
What if he's like super healthy or something afterward? Because like maybe that increases your resistance to disease,
So
and then so
it
is he
actually, they
super
think it
healthy now?
has, yeah.
He's super healthy
So
now. Yeah.
oddly, yeah, they think that's why Bill Haas lived to 100, because he started doing it in the 30s or something like that. And up until his last days, he was doing it. And so they have proven in terms of elasticity and skin and stuff that it's so like Bill Haas looked like he had plastic surgery, but it was like without having it. Like you're like, how is that man 100? Like he has almost no wrinkles.
So
And
it's
they've used certain types of venoms and other things like that. But yeah,
it somehow had an effect where he had reduced aging, right? So
yeah, they think so. They can't fully prove it. There's a lot of people that talk about it with energy too, and there's been weird things. People talking
I
about
mean,
covert bites and
it could have
different
been a
things that could almost
coincidence.
like it could. Yeah, it could have with a lot of things, or he could have just been really good genes, you know? But either way, the, self-envenomation, as it's called, is definitely real, and there's lots of guys in the States and England and stuff that do it. They just dilute a little bit of venom, and they shoot up venom constantly, like, you know what I mean?
There should
Until
be
they're actually
a
immune.
yeah, there should be a medical research institution study on this where they have
So
people
they're
who
starting
have experienced snake
they have
venom
one
and they
called,
follow their health.
yeah, yeah. So they have one called the PNG Snakebite Project, which it does that. It does testing on different like antivenoms, because a lot of times antivenom can kill you. And they also do a lot of things going to like different countries in the world that have like multiple snake bites per day and giving out the antivenoms in the thing. So it's kind of like a three-pronged thing. I know there's more other ones too, because it's definitely there's a huge business to snake milking and stuff. You know what I mean? It's just obviously very dangerous.
That makes sense.
But yeah, I loved that shit. I always thought the reptile industry is pretty cool, and people make some cool money at it. You know what I mean? It's definitely wild.
Mhm.
Yeah, my friend had a rattlesnake bubbler once. That thing was a smooth
Oh, that's
ripper.
tight.
Yeah.
That's actually a cool idea. I feel like it's so. I feel like I haven't seen anyone do a good like realistic snake. You know what I
You
mean?
know, that
Nico
was
Gray
from
makes the
that
most
was
epic
actually
snakes,
on
though.
Daily
I'll
High
say.
Club, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys
Um
know Nico's work, right? Nico
He had
Cray?
like a subscription. My friend had a subscription, and it was like Daily High Club. They sent him in this bong, this rattlesnake bubbler, and it was really sick bubbler. What were you saying though?
That's awesome. Oh no, I said, do you guys know Nico Cray? His work?
Nico Gray, you're saying
Nico Cray.
Nico Cray. Okay.
Cray, Cray. Yeah. Um, he makes snakes. He makes like the fucking coolest snake rigs. He's really like he's
Let
one
me
of the
check it
most
out.
on point glass workers. Yeah, you gotta check him out, especially if you have any affinity for snake rigs. He's the man. Super cool dude, and just like crazy on point repetition, like really good. All his proportions are just always there. He's really, really good.
All right, what was the name again?
Nico Niko Cray Cray.
On Graham.
Yeah, I believe so.
I'm not seeing it here, but I'll check it out.
Did I spell it wrong? No, he's so phenomenal. Wow, that's weird. A venomous thing just popped up. Yeah, Nikocray.
Nikocr. Oh, I got you.
Yeah,
AY. Yeah. So,
yeah, he does these
oh, I
phenomenal
see. I
sharks
see.
and snakes and stuff.
All sorts of
Yeah,
colors he's fitting into those snakes there.
yeah. He's a really
Oh,
great, like,
wow.
clean sculptural artist. He's pretty phenomenal. Like,
This thing is pretty
I've seen him
crazy.
do some of the snake bends I've seen him do in person, and it's just like, what the hell? Like, it's wild. You know what I mean? Like, he's really good. Like, I like artists like that, and I do like looking at friends that are artists like that you're just like, man, like you don't even need to compete. Like your shit speaks so well for itself. It's just like you know what I mean? Like it's awesome.
Yeah, that's an insane
I said
level.
sometimes people get hyped. Yeah, some people get hyped up and blown up, and they deserve every part of it. Like you know what I mean? It's not, you just can't argue when it's like in comedy. If funny, they'll laugh. You shouldn't have to argue your point. You know what I mean?
Yup. Makes sense, man. Yeah, we haven't talked to anyone who does the snake design yet.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't think I've ever even made a snake either, which is weirder.
Right. Are you getting into any new type of designs like that?
Um, it's funny, I've kind of brought back old ones, like, I did, these, like, fish in a bottle for a long time, and so I started bringing that back just because it's function and it's sculptural. I don't know, I've been thinking about doing some more reference again. Reference is, like, a lot of mental energy, and it's just fun to do what you want, but, like, when I reference, I do get a big reaction, like, I did a Mr. Meeseeks, I did a Chucky, I did a few Jasons. So I have a few different things kind of like that I've been waiting to reference. Return of the Living Dead, the Tar Man, the famous like tar dripping skull zombie. I really want to do. And like yeah, just a few other things like a dead-eyed hand and stuff like from Evil Dead. I've had a few people. My good friend actually gave me that idea of like just doing a hand as a rig and stuff. So
A
kind
Jedi
of stuff I
hand, you
used to
said.
do, but oh no, Deadite. Like
A Deadite.
I don't know if you knew the
Okay.
movie. Yeah, Evil. You know the movie Evil Dead.
Oh, what is it? Dead?
Evil Dead.
Evil Dead. Oh, right, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Bruce
Yeah, I've heard
Campbell
of
in the
that.
'80s, Sam Raimi. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, like, and then it ended with the third was Army of Darkness and stuff. But yeah, his zombie character, whatever you want to call
That's a
it, is
very old movie, huh?
considered as a deadite.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's my like it's yeah, the early '80s, '81 and '85.
Yeah, yeah.
But most of my shit, I'm actually looking at the VHS special edition that I have right in front of me because I have a VHS player that's running like all the time. You know what I mean? That's nostalgia for me. Like
Right.
everything
That's
was on
fun.
VHS when I was growing up. Yeah. So,
Very fun,
but
man.
that's like those are my biggest inspirations. Like that time period in those movies, 80s slashers were everything because we were post Vietnam, and all of a sudden it was like people just wanted to be scared by something. You know what I mean? That's there's a lot of theories on it, at least. You know, but why I got into doing that and the zombies even was all of that like weird movie history trivia and and especially zombie movies and Romero and like the real like king of it was the whole point was like
I can definitely
everyone
see
dies
that
at
in
the
your
end. If
pieces.
everyone, yeah, if everyone doesn't die in the end, then it's not a real zombie movie. So it was kind of like, what was the work for? So I liked that symbolism of zombies too, you know. And I got to switch it up a little though lately. I'm trying back in my melee pieces too. But oh yeah, I don't know. I still feel always drawn to it, you know.
Right. I get you. I'm trying to show stream your pieces here. Heck yeah, man. So I can see the Friday the 13th. That's really fun. Is that a very small rig there?
It's probably like 7 inches, 7, 8 inches,
7 inches?
something like that. It's weighty too, because those are full
So
solid legs and
that's
stuff.
sizable piece,
Um,
yeah. Okay.
yeah. Most I can go super small. Some of the Cthulhu's that I do, like the little octopus monster and stuff, some of those are like tiny, tiny, like this big with a gill perk. But a lot of them like mid-size and then going up. You know what I mean? The newer zombies are pretty big, for the most part. The Chucky
Right.
I did a while ago was probably like 10 inches, something like that, maybe 9, 10 inches. So, but yeah,
And
those
so
pieces get really involved and they get. Well,
yeah. Are they sold? Are most of them sold, or are some of them still up for grabs?
I have a bunch of the new ones are available. Anything prior to July is sold already. That's up on my Instagram now.
Right.
And some of the ones that are up now, but not all of them. Like I said, it's definitely been slower, like coming back and stuff. But so I got a decent little shelf right now up.
Cool.
He's outside.
Yeah, so that's awesome, man. I don't know where Rick went, but it's been fun talking to you, man. You can pop in,
Yeah,
come
absolutely.
back, pop in anytime you want. We're gonna have a lot of glass blowers here, and
No, yeah, it's great, man.
there's plenty of super experienced guys to learn from. I'm sure they have some awesome extra tricks, right? And don't be afraid
Yeah,
to try and
yeah,
sell
yeah.
glass on the Discord server. There's younger people
Okay.
who will buy glass on the Discord here, so you
All
can
right,
post
awesome,
your
man. Yeah,
pieces
no,
and
it's great what you guys are
whatever.
doing.
Yeah,
No, yeah, thanks for talking to me and definitely and like yeah, it's great what you guys are doing. I think we all appreciate it. Just different exposure, different platforms. It's definitely appreciated.
right, right. Yeah, I thought we could wrap it up because it is like I think it's 3 hours. Like, thanks
Yeah,
for
we're getting
going
close
strong,
to.
bro. Yeah,
All right, yeah, man. Thanks for
so
having
that's
me.
an epic interview, man. Yeah, I don't want to take you too much longer, you know. So,
No, no, I
so take
appreciate it.
care.
Yeah. No, we were
Yeah.
getting onto snakes and stuff, so I think we're good.
So, are you having dinner after this, or what's the plan after this, man?
Mm, yeah, probably. I'll probably make something. I mean, I cook a ton, so I always find something. I pretty much cook every night. So
Sweet.
yeah. What about for you? What's your night like?
I just got some sausage. It's my birthday here. I'm just gonna chill out, sesh out more.
Nice.
I'm very faded. I'm super stoned. I like to celebrate
Good.
when we have an interview,
Well,
you know.
happy birthday, man.
So
Enjoy it.
yeah,
Yeah, enjoy it.
so I'm just hanging
Awesome,
out.
brother. Well, have a great Friday night.
Yeah. All right, I'll see you later, bro. Take care.